Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where manga comes to talk. Thanks for joining. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. We've got a lot to cover. There was a major plot against Pam Bondi. We have some new details on that. I covered it when it broke on my podcast yesterday, and we have some new details. We're going to cover that and a whole bunch more. And President Trump, of course, has been making Japan great again, all of Asia great again. And he addressed the sailors and Marines on board the USS George Washington, which is an aircraft carrier. And President Trump had the coolest entrance he's ever had. It's pretty freaking amazing. And if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, to see and hear all the audio and video that I play, you have to go to my main live stream, which is linked up in the description of that video with the green behind me. Watch this, guys. This is so super cool. Look at this. There he is, our favorite president, Donald Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Is that not super cool? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine Kamala doing that? I don't think so. There's a lot happening, okay? And not only is there a lot happening, we have a lot to talk about on the program today. And I did cover on my podcast yesterday afternoon, and we have a lot of new details on it, the assassination attempt that was foiled and a major arrest was made by Kash Patel and the FBI. But there was an assassination attempt that was foiled on Pam Bondi. And I want to go over some of this, go over the details of it. And also there's something else going on that involves Pam Bondi that very well could be connected to this. So we're going to get to all of that. And it also looks like, I'm going to cover this a little later as well. Mamdani is in big trouble in New York, right? Governor Cuomo has cut Mamdani's lead in half. Early voting turnout is unusually high in an off-year election in New York. And it is older voters, not younger voters, turning out to vote early. So I've got some breakdowns on that we're going to get into, as well as Mamdani Zohan himself just being totally humiliated in New York yesterday because he got busted lying about the ant in the hijab who never existed. And he actually had to admit that he lied in a press event yesterday. So things are really coming apart for Zohan, and it looks like what we have going on here is the October surprise. And this is when they do the October surprise. The October surprise is done as close to the election as possible so that it consumes the media. And this is, the Democrat machine's running against Mamdani. Just because he's the Democrat nominee doesn't mean he has the Democrat machine behind him. And they're specialists in the October surprise. In fact, other than the laptop from hell from the Trump campaign, the October surprise is an exclusive Democrat event. The laptop from hell was the only time that I know of where the Republicans have deployed the October surprise. And look what that happened. They freaked out, right? When that happened, Twitter freaked out and everything. But it looks like what's going on with Mamdani right now is the Democrats' October surprise. So he's in big trouble. And as crazy as it sounds, New York City is in play for a Zohan defeat. So we're going to get into that a little later today and take your calls. And this is when the news broke about the assassination plot on Pam Bondi yesterday.
All right, breaking news, top of the new hour here, and another threat of political violence in America. The FBI making an arrest in a chilling murder-for-hire plot targeting Attorney General Pam Bondi. We are learning brand new details at this hour. Welcome back as America Reports heads into hour two. I'm Sandra Smith in New York.
Scary stuff, Sandra. I'm John Roberts in Washington. The 29-year-old Minnesota man is accused of putting out a $45,000 hit on the attorney general. It all started on TikTok when a post with the bounty started going viral before setting off a swift federal investigation.
And the suspect's rap sheet is long, and his online activity reveals ties to anarchist symbolism and anti-government literature.
Our justice correspondent David Spunt live here in Washington. What else are we learning, David, about the suspect?
Well, John, he is charged with threatening Attorney General Bondi in a TikTok post. According to authorities in this affidavit that we just saw a couple of hours ago, unsealed recently, he allegedly offered a $45,000 bounty. In the post, there's a photo, and this was on TikTok, a photo of the Attorney General with a sniper red dot, and it reads, "Wanted Pam Bondi, reward $45,000, dead or alive, preferably dead." That's a quote. He is in custody. Additionally, his TikTok page had anarchist symbols, according to the affidavit filed. The affidavit reads, quote, "Additionally, the suspect user's TikTok page had a link to an anarchist FAQ book pinned to his page. According to open source research, as well as based on your Affiance training and experience, anarchism is a political philosophy and movement that seeks to abolish all institutions that perpetuate authority, coercion, or hierarchy, primarily targeting the state and capitalism." Now, FBI agents John and Sandra from Detroit, Michigan received a tip from someone who was on TikTok, noticed the post in their feed, then reported this post. The FBI worked with Google, Comcast, and TikTok to find this guy. Google helped with IP logins, IP locations. They also were able to find his email. Now, according to the affidavit, he has a multi-state criminal history, as you mentioned, including a 2022 felony stalking and domestic assault misdemeanor charge. We reached out to the Justice Department. So far, we're being told no comment.
Okay. So, is this guy Antifa? Okay. Now, I don't know of another instance, but as far as I know, now there may be an exception to this, and if you know one, let me know, but this is the first assassination plot against a sitting cabinet member that I know of since the John Wilkes Booth plot against not just President Lincoln, but the cabinet, right? Remember, they went after members of the cabinet in the assassination conspiracy around Abraham Lincoln. That's pretty serious stuff. And it shows that a lot of people are really afraid of what Pam Bondi's doing. There's a major update with what she's doing that I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But, you know, we've had Pam Bondi assassination attempt here. We had 2 attempts on the president last week that were exposed. One guy drove a car at high speed into the front gate of the White House trying to get in. We had the sniper's nest last weekend at the airport in Palm Beach with the line of sight to Air Force One. Talked about that last week. Right before that, we had the Benny Johnson assassin arrested, right? A guy was threatening Benny Johnson. And, of course, sadly, less than 2 months ago, the late, great Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a Democrat, by a leftist. The assassination attempts on the president, where he was even shot in one of them in Butler. You know, the violence from the left, the anti-Trump, anti-MAGA violence is increasing, and it's increasing a lot. And not one single Democrat has come out and said, turn the volume down a little bit. In fact, they've been quadrupling down on their Hitler rhetoric and Nazi rhetoric and fascist rhetoric. I mean, my goodness, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, it was the first political assassination of a non-elected official at the national level since Martin Luther King in 1968. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the first assassination attempt on a sitting cabinet member since 1865. So what's going on here with the left and with the deep state and the powers that be? All right, this is the early show. The radio show will start in a little more than 30 minutes, but I'll still take your calls. If you're watching live, you can call in live. Of course, the number is pinned in the live stream, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. If you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video that I'm sharing. So the link to my main stream is in the description of that video. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, all these assassination attempts and the aggressiveness of these people go back to that famous statement by Maxine Waters: "Get in their face and confront them." Right?
Yeah.
She said that. That. I mean, and you got to understand, people. These liberals got to understand that when you say a statement like that, this is the end result. These assassination attempts and assassinations are the end result of that type of statement.
Yep, that's true. That's true. All right, Mike, I appreciate the call. He's right. I mean, the left are inciting the violence, no doubt. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Lucas, and I'm from Denver. I was calling in to ask what you think Trump should do regarding sanctuary cities, because I am going to be voting in the next, year or so.
Well, yeah, well, shut them down. Shut down the sanctuary state. You can't have a city and be a local city government and say that if you are a federal criminal and wanted fugitive, which the illegals are, right? The migrants are, that you can come and have safe haven. You can't say, where'd you say you're calling from? Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay, so Denver is like a well-known sanctuary city for the illegals.
Yeah.
Denver can't say, okay, Denver is now, bank robbery is a federal crime and kidnapping is a federal crime, right? So Denver could not say, or Colorado could not say, Denver is a sanctuary city for bank robbers and kidnappers. You can't do that. Federal authority supersedes the local authority. So I would hope you support that. Arresting all the illegals and deporting them, awesome.
Yeah, but they're resisting ICE, and
that's
they're
more charges.
Don't even open the door. And
yeah, sure, you can't do that. They can bust it down.
How is it going to be enforced by the executive?
They're doing it. They're busting down the doors and arresting them and sending them to jail and sending them back to their home country or prisons in other countries. Oh, they're doing it. You get arrested. You just can't say, I'm not going to open up my door for federal agents. That's crazy. Right. I mean, you can say it, but they're going to bust it down.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So you sound young. So this is going to be the first time you vote next year?
Yeah, I'm pretty young, yeah.
You're going to be 18 to vote next year, right?
Right.
So you're going to vote Republican.
Yeah.
Why? That's good, but I want to know why.
I want to vote Republican for economic opportunity to be given to people who actually deserve it, rather than illegal immigrants who are stealing everyone's welfare themselves.
That's right. See, you're very well. Are your parents Republican?
Yes. There
you go. Okay, they raised you right. All right, take care. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, imagine. All right. See what's happened? The Democrats are in trouble. They're not creating new Democrats, right? Right. The Democrats, they promoted so many alternative lifestyles and genders. They're not having the type of sex that results in reproductive things, right? So they're not So the Republican Party, we're multiplying, because we, our people, they reproduce people, but the Democrats, well, they do not. So the person that was arrested in the assassination plot on Pam Bondi, suspect with lengthy rap sheet, was arrested for alleged Pam Bondi murder for hire scheme. This guy, he's only 29 years old. 29 years old. He sounds like Antifa. He's communicating through TikTok, which I guess is kind of like the new thing. And if you remember, after the Democrat assassinated Charlie Kirk, we kept hearing, and people would call me, these liberal loons would call me and say, hey, most violence is from Republicans. If you read that, where's the Republican violence? It's all coming from the left against Republicans, like this latest one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
What's up?
Hey, man. How are you this morning?
I'm all right.
Hey, this one quick thing, and I'm not going to keep you long. This one quick thing. I want all your listeners, including me, Say a prayer, a quick prayer for the people of Jamaica this morning, because everybody gets slammed.
Oh yeah, and the hurricane's a pretty bad one. We took one of our cruises. One of our cruises was right after the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, and we went to every stop. Actually, it was crazy. Our cruise went to every stop that got hit by the hurricane. It was Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and I forgot the third one. And they had a lot of loss of life, they said, in the Virgin Islands. And I was talking, we had a tour guide, and she told me that these islands are pretty well set up for hurricanes, that the only people that really get hurt are those that are in evacuation areas, But the Virgin Islands is the United States. It's the U.S. Virgin Islands, so they're first world. Jamaica it's not the United States, so they're not as prepared. They need your prayer. A lot of people, when they're new to Florida, they don't think hurricanes are a big deal. I was watching on Fox yesterday afternoon, and they had this couple that are on their honeymoon in Jamaica. They're Americans on their honeymoon, and they're acting like it's no big deal. People don't realize hurricanes are pretty scary and pretty serious business, and it's not. I don't know where people get the idea that it's like a rainstorm to party in. They're god awful, and I'm like overly prepared for it, right? I've got a generator, hurricane windows, hurricane shutters. I got everything. But when the hurricane's coming, it sounds like a freight train. Like, it sounds like a loud freight train. It's bad. And this one, when it hits Jamaica, I haven't seen the latest update this morning. Is it going to be a Category 4 when it hits Jamaica? They were talking 5 yesterday, but I think it'll be a 4 when it hits Jamaica.
I think when it hits it may be a 5. When it hits it, then go down to a 4. It's just going to be bad.
It's going to be bad. All right, take care. It's nice to hear a Democrat who actually prays to God. That's novel. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Red. I'm calling from New York. I'm from Haiti.
Hey, what's up, Red?
Good morning, Brian.
How you doing?
How are you?
Doing all right.
Yeah, man. I'm afraid, the president is not going to have time to fix what's going on right now. And if he don't get it fixed, we won't have a country, bro.
He's fixing everything. Everything's getting fixed.
It's getting fixed. Is he going to have enough time?
Yeah.
To fix? Man, what's going on is really deep, bro.
No.
When you think of it.
No.
Don't you see that they're trying to unalive only Republican? They're trying to unalive?
Things are, what? I couldn't understand that last part.
Okay. Don't you see what they're trying to do? They try to unalive him.
Well, there's been multiple assassination attempts on the president. Now Pam Bondi. It goes on, but President Trump is fixing everything. He's fixing
everything. I'm gonna tell you one more thing. The country started getting destroyed under President Obama.
Oh yeah, he's responsible for all this mess. Yeah. The reason Minnesota and Michigan are now Muslim, I guess, states, right? Is because Obama brought so many Muslims to the United States in numbers that none of us realized, right?
Man, I'm telling you, man, the worst mistake America could have made is have Obama president of the United States. Mm-hmm. That was the worst mistake.
Yeah,
anyway, man, I like your show. Like I said, I like your show, man. Keep it up, man. We got to fight to fix this country.
Well, we are. Trump's doing it, man. All right. So this assassination plot against Pam Bondi, this dropped yesterday. And I think this has something to do with it. This is Florida, but, she's a Florida person. Florida to investigate alleged conspiracy against Trump. And there's actually going to be two that headline's misleading. It's the federal government. Look at this. This is in Newsweek. It's a federal grand jury in Florida. They're saying Florida to investigate. I don't know who's working at Newsweek anymore. They used to have intelligent, educated people, but here's the story. A federal grand jury will convene in Florida in January amid claims from Mike Davis, a Donald Trump ally, that it will investigate what he describes as a years-long effort to undermine the president. So there's actually going to be two grand juries been ordered by a federal judge in Florida. One is going to be in Fort Pierce, where we just got the conviction of the second Trump assassin from the golf course, the one that they arrested. And there's going to be a second one, I believe it's in Fort Lauderdale, which is in Broward County, which is a Democrat area. But what's going on here with all of this is this grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, which is the most MAGA jury pool you could possibly have. It is so MAGA. Okay, big time. You can't get more MAGA than the jury pool for the Fort Pierce Federal Courthouse. You just can't. So this particular grand jury is the big one about all the lawfare against the president. And I imagine they're bringing in a new grand jury because these other grand juries that have come in with like the Comey indictments and Brennan and such, we're getting all kinds of information here. So they're convening this new grand jury. So this now this is what I personally believe. This assassination attempt that was foiled by Kash Patel and the FBI against Pam Bondi, I believe that this was a direct result of all these grand juries. The arrest of Comey, Brennan looks like his is coming, right? We've got all these things that have been going on. This is about the grand juries. So all of us, including me, I've been one of the biggest, been very impatient about this. Pam Bondi is obviously, Pam Bondi has these people worried. For the first, now again, if you know of another one that I'm missing, but to my knowledge, this is the first assassination attempt and plot against a sitting member of a presidential cabinet since the Lincoln assassination, where some cabinet members were also targeted. All of a sudden, out of the blue. So what's Pam Bondi doing, right? She's got these grand juries all over the country investigating the lawfare people. They got the indictment on Comey. They've been not only going after Antifa, they ran Antifa out of Portland, so they've been doing arrests and cracking down on Antifa. There's also a major federal investigation going on at the Justice Department into the funding of the left and where it's coming from, and not just the left, but these radical groups like Antifa. That's what this assassination plot's all about. These assassins like this guy, the Charlie Kirk Democrat assassin, the Butler assassin, like Lee Harvey Oswald, they're all patsies that are working for some very evil people behind the scenes. And, and these patsies, they don't know that they're patsies, okay? They think that they did this on their own. They get worked up in some Discord server or something, and then the next thing you know, they're doing this. But that's what's going on here. And I think it's as clear as day that that's what's going on here. In fact, someone like Pam Bondi, when you look at what they're going after the lawfare people. They're going after Antifa. They're tracking down the funding of all these radical Democrat groups, and they're going after the drug cartels and the deep state. These are the most dangerous organizations and people in the modern Western world. And they're going after all of them. And that's what led to this, on top of all of this rhetoric from the left continuing to call MAGA people fascist and Hitler and all of this. And I don't know why they think this is an effective tool to accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. My guess is they're in a panic, right? They're freaking out. For the very first time, they feel completely powerless because not only did President Trump come back with a massive mandate, he's doing what we wanted him to do. And so far as these grand juries, grand juries are secret and they haven't leaked anything out of the grand juries. But the people involved know what is going on in these grand juries because they're being either called in to testify or they're being charged. They very well could have secret indictments that we don't know about, sealed indictments that we don't know about. So the people that are involved know things are going down, more so than we know. And they're in a panic. So what do? They assassinate Charlie Kirk. They get a plot on Pam Bondi. They get a plot on Benny Johnson. What they're trying to do is disrupt and derail the MAGA movement. And this Pam Bondi plot was only carried on one of the three networks last night. Only one of them even carried the story. They don't even want people to know that it's news. Now, coming up in a little bit, I'm going to get into what's going on with Zohan. Zohan's in big trouble. he's in huge trouble. His lead's been cut in half, and there's a lot of things coming out. We're going to talk about that coming up. But I want to remind you guys, Mike Lindell and MyPillow are the sponsors of the expansion of the program. We're approaching the end of the second month because Friday is the last day of the month. And when the month is over, I'm going to have a meeting on Monday with Mike Lindell and his people, and they're going to let me know if they're going to continue their sponsorship of the expansion of the program. So it's very important for you guys to go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane, and load up. It's a great time to do so because there's great deals with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And it's a great time to start your Christmas shopping. Saturday is the 1st of November. You're in holiday season. Start doing your shopping now and take advantage of these great deals from MyPillow with my promo code Kane, Kane.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, guys, yeah, and I do appreciate that's promo code Kane at checkout. So Mom Donnie is in huge trouble. If you're on hold, hang in there, and if you want to call in, the number is toll-free. It's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. And if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you go to my main live stream, you can see and hear all the articles that I share, the audio and the video that I play. There's a direct link to my main stream in the description of that video. So I was talking yesterday about the desperation of Mom Donnie, right? He really came out hardcore, not just, okay, make sure you know that I'm Muslim. He was apologizing to the Muslim community and saying, in the video in the library, the school library that I played yesterday, he was apologizing to the Muslim community for not being out as a Muslim enough. Remember that? So, and I was telling you that there's a lot of things going on in New York so far as the polls go and everything else that have him freaking out. Now, let me pull one up. Hold on. This is pretty amazing. And I was telling you that there's exit polling from the early voting, and which is at a record high, and the voters are older, Gen X and above. The young aren't turning out for the early voting. Okay? And that his internal polling is showing that he's in a lot of trouble. Okay? That's why he's doing so much outreach to the Muslims. He doesn't have the Muslims all behind him. And if you noticed, when he came out at that press conference and lied with the fake story about the aunt, he had Muslim people around him. They were almost all black Muslims. So he's also in trouble with the black vote. This is a man on the street interview that I saw on X. Viral News NYC on X posted this. And it's a black man who's a voter in New York City talking about Zohan. Listen to this.
I'm here in Times Square. I just met this guy, Ali. Ali, who are you voting for in the New York City elections?
So it's funny, but I'm a liberal, but I'm going to vote for Curtis Lewa, right? For a few reasons. First reason is I'm a diehard New Yorker. I was born and raised here. I grew up in Coney Island. And since the 80s, I've been seeing the guardian angels patrolling the subway. You know what I mean? I was very, very, very young, but I remember watching the guardian angels with the red hats, patrolling the subways, patrolling Coney Island. Coney Island used to be crime city. Like, we know the amusement park, but I grew up there. Besides the amusement park, there used to be a lot of robberies, a lot of bottle attacks, a lot of crazy shit. So the guardian angels have been out there since the 80s. I've been seeing them since I was a very, very small child in the 80s. If anybody deserves to be the mayor, it's somebody who's been putting in their work. As far, I don't even know when he started the Guardian Angels, but I remember from the late 80s when I was a very small child. So, If anybody deserves to be the mayor, it's somebody who's been putting in their own work without no kind of nobody told him to do that. He literally did that on his own, right? And I respect that. If anybody deserves to be the mayor, it should be him.
Okay. So, I mean, this is just phenomenal because obviously Curtis Lee was the Republican, and we've got a young black man in New York City who's going to vote for the Republican. So Mamdani, people forget this. Mamdani got very lucky. He only won because people weren't paying attention. He won the Democrat primary, which had an incredibly low turnout. People were not paying attention. He got the nomination. And what he's going up against now are, people that have not forgotten 9/11, like we, have been led to believe these liberals have forgotten. But he's also going up against the Democrat Party machine. There was an article that I wanted to share. Okay. All right. Now look at this. This is from The Hill. All right. Cuomo cuts Mamdani's lead by 10 points after Adams' exit in new poll. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent for mayor of New York City, has cut Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani's lead in half, according to a poll released 8 days before Election Day. In the latest Suffolk University poll conducted over the past 4 days, Mamdani leads Cuomo by 10 points, 44-34, with Republican nominee Curtis Sliwa following by 11. Now, this is why I'm pissed at Curtis Sliwa, because if he wasn't in the race, we'd have it in the bag. The Suffolk poll last month showed Mamdani with a 20-point lead on Cuomo and Sliwa at 9. And then Adams had some votes. Today, 7% of respondents. It goes on and on and on. So anyway, the lead's been cut in half. The early voting numbers are in, and over 60% of the early voters are 50 and above. So the early voters, not young voters. So, and a lot of those last 40% are in their 30s and 40s. So the young voters are not turning out in early voting for Mamdani. The early vote is leaning 50 plus by 60%. So we still have a chance to save New York. There's an often used, overused phrase that I don't like. I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. I hate when people say that, but in this instance, it really is true. Cuomo's a bad dude, but he's not Zohan, right? So New York is in play, and Zohan is in big, big trouble. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Josh. I'm calling from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm a Trump supporter, and I have constipation. I want to shit in your mouth.
I'm sure you do. Isn't that nice? I mean, that's great. There you have it. See, that's what's left of the left. Oh, my goodness. I tell you, those of you that are new to the program, every once in a while we have to prove to you that we do take the call screenless, right? But here's the thing. If you disagree with me, you can call in and give me grief. You don't have to call in and say profanities like that. If you could take issue with me. But what I've noticed with, we've gone through a few phases in the last couple of weeks with liberal callers, right? And have you noticed this, that the liberal call, a call like that, what does that mean? And I would have kept him on, by the way. He hung up. The liberal callers that I'm hearing from, if you notice, they don't want to have a discussion anymore at all. They've been totally defeated because for the first time, we have a Republican that's truly standing up to them. And not just in news conferences, right? President Trump is doing the deportations. And the thing about the deportations, and I was expecting when the deportations started for them to be unpopular. They're incredibly popular, aren't they? They really are. And popular from groups that you would not normally think, like this guy here is going to vote Republican in New York instead of Mamdani. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Really? My name's Joe from West Palm Beach.
Hey, Joe.
Brian, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Joe in West Palm. What's up?
Hey, man, I just would really love to know how on God's green earth you can still justify this presidency when every aspect of the economy is in the tanks. No, you shut up. You shut up and let me talk, little boy.
I didn't say anything.
Talk.
I didn't say anything.
Little boy.
I didn't say anything. You're hallucinating. I didn't say anything. All right, go on.
Okay, GDP, inflation, unemployment, health insurance, every aspect of the economy is shitting.
No, none of that's
and
true.
You still and you and
none of that's true. None of what you said's true.
That is true.
It's not true. In fact,
that is true.
In
You're
fact,
lying
excuse
to your
me.
audience.
Excuse me. In
You're
fact,
a grifter.
Okay.
You are a grifter.
If you don't let me speak, I'm going to let you go. I'd like to talk to you, but you have to have a conversation. Are you capable?
I am leaps and bounds smarter than you.
That's not what I asked you. I said, are you capable of having a conversation?
The only issue is the echo. Do you have to turn your volume down?
The echo is probably the schizophrenia, that voice you're hearing in your head.
I can't hear. It's difficult to have a conversation with.
No, it's difficult.
Your acoustics. I'm assuming your setup's very bush league.
No, it's difficult. You're just looking for an out. You're just looking.
Like 5 voices playing in my ears.
Yeah, I know. Well, because you're a paranoid schizophrenic.
No, you're.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you couldn't hear me.
Words.
No, I thought you couldn't hear me.
But there's.
You were one. Let me tell you, you were one of the most pathetic callers I've ever had. Okay, and callers. See what I mean about the left? They've completely given up, haven't they? They've surrendered. So I was telling you before I talked to that lunatic that the liberals don't want to have they can't have a discussion anymore, right? So what's he doing? He's claiming that he can't hear me. So that he's the only one that can speak, because that avoids the discussion. It's pretty weak. And, everything is going well. Nothing that the guy said was true. And that out of all of the callers I've had over the years that have different ploys to get out of conversations, that one is one of the more clever ones, I must say. I've not heard that one before. I'll take 1 or 2 more calls before we do the switch over to the radio station. This might be schizo again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Terrell, calling from Virginia.
All right, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Well, I just have one question. Are you aware that Donald Trump is violating his oath of office by not upholding the Constitution?
Oh, okay. So you're withdrawing your support of him?
Excuse me?
So you're withdrawing your support of President Trump?
No, I've never supported him.
Yeah, see, that's why your criticism is invalid. I mean, the guy could do no right by you. He's ended 8 wars. He's cleaning up crime in our major cities. He's deported millions of illegals that are taking jobs away from hardworking Americans.
What are these 8 wars he's ended?
I'm not going to go through all of them with you. If you can't keep up with the news, I'm not here to be your briefer in the morning. Just follow the news. What's your major beef with President Trump? Why did you not like him in the beginning? You've never liked him. What is it you don't like about President Trump? And don't give me some constitutional BS to try to legitimize your stupidity. You've never liked him. So in the beginning, why didn't you like him?
Well, I didn't like him because of his actions during his first term.
So you liked him. Okay, so when he came down the escalator and ran for president the first time, you did like him. It was only after he was elected that you disliked him?
No.
Okay, well then let's go back. Let's go back. So you never, no. You never liked him or supported him since he came down the escalator. So why did you originally not like him?
I didn't say I didn't originally
you
like
said
him. I was willing to give him. Listen, I was willing to give him a chance during his first term, as I am.
You gave him a chance. So when
by
the
end of his first term.
So you voted for him. So you voted for him the first time instead of Hillary.
I didn't. No, I didn't. I did not.
You voted for Hillary Clinton.
I did not.
You voted for Hillary Clinton.
No, I didn't. I didn't vote at all in
What?
2016.
Why not?
Because I didn't support either candidate.
Let me tell you, that is disgusting.
Listen,
excuse me. You listen to me. That what you not voting is disgusting. Do you know how many African Americans fought and died and suffered to have a right that you can't be bothered with?
Why would I vote for a candidate?
You could write in a candidate. How many black men and women have sacrificed, even given up their lives, and you can't be bothered to vote? Shame on you. You're a disgrace to Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and all before of the civil rights movement.
Why would I vote for a candidate that I do not?
You could write somebody in.
Who's I gonna?
You could write in yourself if you wanted, or anybody that you think is worthy. I mean, think about all those slaves that the Democrats owned who never thought they would have a right to vote, and you can't even be bothered. Shame on you. Shame on you.
You've done a good job of getting me off the topic in which I.
No, I decide what the topic is. I'm the host of the show. No, excuse me. It says, if you look over my head on YouTube, it says The Brian Craig Show. So it's my show. I decide what the topics are. And I'm very curious. When people like Martin Luther King, who was assassinated to bring... Oh, he hung up. Martin Luther King sacrificed his life so that African Americans could have a voice in this country. And that guy in Virginia can't be bothered. My goodness, he's calling from the state that was the capital of the Confederacy, and he can't be bothered. There's a black woman running for governor in that state, and he can't be bothered. A black woman endured. He hung up. I was going to go over this with him. Winsome Sears. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Wow. Wow. I know. I'm telling you. That's pretty bad, guys. That is pretty bad. Yeah. I never have missed a vote. Since I've been old enough, I have never missed a vote. Have any of you ever missed a vote? Not me. Not me. But then again, I care. Now, it is open enrollment for Medicare. If you're a Medicare recipient, this is it. Open enrollment is here. And, when open enrollment comes, if you're a Medicare recipient, your mailbox is probably filled with junk mail. You might even be getting robocalls and telemarketers and such. You want to call Chapter. When you call this number on your screen, 805-754-3033, they can help you no matter which state you are in. Okay, you're going to get a live agent on the phone who, for completely free, is going to answer all of your Medicare questions and review your policy at no charge. A lot of Medicare policies are going away at the end of the year. A lot of companies are pulling out of Medicare all over the country. So even if you're happy with your Medicare plan, call Chapter, have them review it, make sure it's still going to be in place next year. Also, make sure you're getting all the benefits you're entitled to. Millions of seniors are not getting all their Medicare benefits. They'll make sure you are. And also make sure you're not paying too much money. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. Give them a call. The number is 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The help is always free. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Elijah, and I'm calling from Germany, actually.
Calling from Germany? Okay, what's up?
Yes. Well, no, I heard you said that Cuomo is less of an evil than Mamdani. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do you come to that conclusion?
Mamdani is not running for mayor of New York City because of his democratic socialism or communism or liberalism or anything else. He is attempting to turn, his goal, those behind him, is to turn New York City into what London, England has become.
Okay, but I'm saying, my question to you is, if Cuomo was the governor of New York, and you see how he ran New York unethically and with all the seniors and stuff like that. So
oh, no, it's terrible what he did.
He has already proven. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so basically, by you, the way that you, how you proposing things is
no,
just basically.
See, Mom Donnie's listen, what Mom Donnie would do would be at the beginning of the downfall. His goal is to bring down American civilization. Listen, the show's going to start in 30 seconds on the radio, so I'm going to keep you on, all right? So you don't go anywhere. I got to do an intro when we come on, and then I'm going to go right to you, okay? What was your first name again?
Okay. Oh, Elijah.
Elijah, calling from Germany. All right.
Yep.
All right, stand by. We got about 15 seconds. I'll do an intro and open the show on the radio. We're just on YouTube now. And then I'm going to go to Elijah in Germany. So hang in there. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977, it is Tuesday, October 28th. Welcome, one and all. Great news coming out of New York City. Mom Donnie's in big trouble. His poll numbers are dropping like rocks. He's got caught in a major lie. Things are falling apart. And I got a guy on the line here, Elijah, calling me from Germany. And, I was talking in the pre-show before the radio show started on YouTube that Cuomo, who's cut Mom Donnie's lead in half already, that he's the lesser of two evils. Cuomo's a bad guy, but Zohan's worse. And Elijah here, what are you backing? You backing Zohan? What's your story?
Well, actually, I listen to both. Actually, I'm not voting in New York, but just to be in a political conversation, just trying to determine how some of the people, when they're voting, what's more important. Because Zoran Mandani, basically what he's saying is basically some good things for the people. Now,
good things? Oh, hold on. I missed that. Give me an example of a good thing for the people that Zohan is offering.
So, on your viewpoint, okay, so New York is extremely expensive, okay? Do you agree on that?
Sure.
So, what would be a big issue if somebody is proposing a rent freeze?
A rent freeze. Okay, I'll explain that to you, and then we'll talk about it. If you're renting, who are you renting from? If you're renting an apartment, who are you renting from?
Yeah, from the owner.
The owner. Okay. Okay. The owner. So, who is the government to tell you how much you can charge people to rent your property? I'm in Florida, which is also very expensive. Okay, I'm a homeowner, not a renter. But do you know how rents are determined in Florida? Like if you have a house or an apartment you want to rent, how is the rent determined? Do you know?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that comes in play. Taxes, property locations.
No. What determines the rent, if you're renting a house or an apartment, okay, what determines the rent is how much you can get for it. So when you're renting a property, you charge as much as you can, as much as the market will bear. So Mom Donnie wants to have a rent freeze, right? So he's telling property owners they can't raise their rent. But in the same breath, and if you own a building if you own a rental property in New York, you're a higher income person, right? Net worth wise, you got some money. You own a building in New York, you're renting out. Mom Donnie is saying to building owners, you can't raise your rents, but I'm going to raise your taxes. So when the taxes are raised, what are the building owners going to do? They still have to pay mortgages and insurance. They have to maintain the buildings. Right? That's called communism. You can't tell someone in the American system. I don't know how you're calling from Germany. I don't know. But in the American system of capitalism.
I'm a 24-year veteran. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about me. I served in the military 24 years and retired and still working for the government.
Good. Okay. All right. The American military?
Got it. That is correct.
And you still have this accent? Okay. You never lost your accent as an American all these years?
Hey. Well, like I say, does it matter? Doesn't matter. Why you? I mean, what did I say? Anything about accent?
Well,
did I say about your accent?
I don't have an accent. I don't have an accent.
Who has an accent? No. Wait, you do have an accent. Okay, you do.
Well,
have
to
an
a
accent.
foreigner, I
what's
do,
the-
not to an
okay,
American.
So basically, now in the
Not to an
conversation,
American.
this is what I'm talking about. In the conversation, you are talking about people's accent. So we are.
Well,
talking
it's
about
relevant to the
what's better for
conversation.
Americans, okay?
It's
24
relevant.
Years. You have not served. How many years have you served? How many years have you served?
Listen to this. I served in the military for the same amount of years as President Biden and President Obama and President Clinton.
Oh, come on now. That's not what we're talking about. You. I'm talking
I
about
did.
you.
I
How
just
many years
answered
have
you.
served?
The same amount of time as President Obama,
Okay.
President Biden, and President
retired
Clinton.
2 years ago after 24 years in service.
Yeah.
Okay. How many have you served? So
I
basically, you
answered
have
your
no
question
plan to talk
twice.
About actions or anything. Okay?
Listen, this is not Starship Troopers where only veterans are citizens. Okay, we all have the right to an opinion in the United States. The reason I bring up your your accent is relevant. You call yourself Elijah. So are you Muslim?
No. Why are you going there? That's
Oh,
not what
well,
we're
okay.
talking about.
Well, because you have an accent and you're Muslim, so you see yourself in Mamdani. This is why we don't want Mamdani to be mayor.
No, I'm listening. No, I do not care about names. I do not care about names.
You
only
care
about records.
No.
What people have done.
You're Muslim.
I do not care. I don't even know the guy. I just listen.
That's why you're
How could you
supporting him.
determine that? Now you're accusing me. Now wait. Wait.
It's
now
an observation. No, I'm not accusing. It's an observation.
For what? Come on now. This is what you do. So basically, you're a grifter. That's what you're doing. So you're not even willing to have a conversation.
No, I'm a broadcaster.
So we're talking about your point. Basically,
I'm a broadcaster.
What determines you? No, come on now, no. You're a grifter because you wouldn't be insulting people on their personal actions. Or
Why is it insulting to be Muslim or to support Mamdani?
It doesn't matter. Look. What the hell are you talking about? You know what? That's the stupidest thing that you could say. This is a mega craziness, and education is what kills you.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the conversation. I ask you a specific question. I'm talking about what determines that Cuomo is a better candidate, and you
because unlike Cuomo is a bad guy. However, he's a better candidate from Zohan because as bad as he is, American culture will still exist in New York City if he were the mayor. With Zohan, American culture, his goal is to topple America.
Yeah, but what you mean his goal? I mean, he's telling you basically with honesty. So basically for me, what's important is ethical.
Dishonesty.
I was in the military. I thought soldiers to be honest, integrity, courage. That's what I'm listening.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Trump whatsoever. Never had any problem.
Hold on a second. So, okay, well, then I don't understand why.
I
don't understand why asking if you're Muslim has any.
Okay. Now you're accusing me of being Muslim.
I'm not accusing you. Okay. So I was right.
Let's say,
so I was right.
For conversation's sake, let me give you that. What does have to do with anything? Okay. Why can I have my own brain and listen to people and say, you know what? If Trump does something that makes sense,
let me tell you why. Slow down, Elijah. Calm down. Elijah, calm down for a second, okay? Just slow down for a second.
Yeah, because you are drifting away from the conversation.
No, I'm the host of the show. Excuse me. I host the show. I decide the direction of the conversation, not random people calling me from Germany. Okay, here's the thing, okay?
Look, what brought me to Germany? The United States brought me to Germany. But what I'm saying is, I hate no one, okay? I'm only talking about
you don't like
policy.
me too much right now. You're not a big fan of mine right now.
Okay, no. Because you're attacking personality.
I didn't attack you. I said you're Muslim and from another country, and you just said you're Muslim, so I was right.
When you have your own accent, I can call you Trailer Park, but I'm not doing that.
You can.
Yeah, but if you attack me, I'm going to attack you. If you want to talk civilized,
I did not attack you.
But if you want,
okay, I said you're Muslim, which you are. That's not an attack. I'm Catholic. If you say that I'm Catholic, you're not attacking me. You're just pointing out something. I'm Christian. You're Muslim. And a lot, and let me hold on a second. Well, because
what religion has to do with it?
Because Zohan is Muslim and he has not condemned 9/11.
Okay, so basically, anybody who supports. Okay, so basically, you're telling me that unless you are Christian, you should not support Trump. Then
no.
That's what the argument that you make.
What I'm telling you is that Zohan this week, not only has he not condemned 9/11, Zohan, he told a lie about 9/11 over the weekend that he got busted on and even admitted himself yesterday. He told this story about how his aunt, after 9/11, couldn't wear a hijab on the subway. He made the whole story up. The aunt doesn't exist.
If you want to bring this conversation into nonsense, things that
we're talking about the guy that wants to be the mayor of New York City. Okay, less than 25 years after the attack on America. And it's relevant if he's out there telling lies about 9/11.
Man, let me tell you something. Okay, look, we are not talking about, I'm not going to go into your games of blaming. This is a problem with politics. That's why you're wearing MAGA hat. That's why you're hating other people.
I'm not hating anyone.
So, to me, I'm not hating you because you wear MAGA. I don't care what you wear. I'm asking you.
You just called me trailer park trash. You stopped yourself, but that was a racial term. That was a racial term.
I could call. I said. Look.
That was a racial slur.
What you mean racial?
Calling a white guy trailer park trash is a racial slur.
I can do it. Look, I can do it too.
I didn't use any racial slurs.
Ain't nobody gonna shut me. No. Yes, you have. I mean, you started talking. We talking about rent freeze, and then you attacking people for their accent.
I didn't attack you because of your accent. I didn't attack you because of your accent. You took it as an attack.
Okay, but do you understand what I'm talking about?
What did you do in the military? I mean, you're very fragile for a veteran. What branch were you in?
Army.
What'd you do in the Army?
24 years. You don't know anything about the Army.
What'd you do in the Army?
Because you never served.
What'd you do in the Army?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. What was your MOS?
Highest non-commissioned officer rank.
What was your MOS?
Look, I'm a 13 Bravo.
Okay, and what was your rank?
I retired 2 years ago and made it to the highest rank in the non-commissioned officer, which is a sergeant major rank.
And what was your job?
Oh, Lord, God doggone it.
What'd you do? I don't know. What's 13 Bravo?
If somebody tells you about MOS, what do you understand behind MOS?
Well, tell me what was your job in the Army?
Look, you know what? Okay, I ask you a specific question. I'm not going to go back and forth. I served my time 24
I know
years,
you keep saying it. What was your job in the Army? What was your job?
You know nothing. So I'm not calling about my job. I'm calling because I asked you a question.
And I answered it about the rent. I answered it about the rent freeze.
Let's stay on topic. What's important about people?
Listen. I've got to run for a break. I'm late for a commercial break. But call me again sometime. Not today. It's one call per show. Call me on another day. I just think the guy's a little fragile and snowflakey to be a 24-year veteran of the Army. I wonder what you think Pete Hegseth would put up with first sergeants and sergeant majors like that. I don't know. It seems kind of it seems a little fragile. Anybody know what that's from? Fragile. It seems a little fragile for a 24-year veteran of the United States Army. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, that was he a little snowflakey to you? What do you think? A little snowflakey? Seemed a little snowflakey to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he seemed a little snowflakey. You know, a lot of times people wonder, why do I ask questions about people? You know, it's not to make fun or anything. You know, I believe, and this is true with all of us, not just that guy. This is true with me and you, that the political opinions we have are based on our values, our personal life, and things like that. And these questions are very relevant because, you know, our personal life is what leads us to have political opinions. And I was right about the caller. he sees a little bit of himself in Zohan. And that caller is a textbook reason why you don't want him to be mayor. Right? I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to call in, please do. The number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We're going to be back live on the air in 2 minutes. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we'll be back on the radio in 1 minute. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones when we get back. All right? And the number's pinned in the live stream, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, less than a minute. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. That's our MAGA cruise. We got our next MAGA cruise coming up, which you will not want to miss. Very excited about it. This video here is from a couple cruises ago. That was a good one. We have such a great time. All right, welcome back, everyone. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, March is our 10th annual MAGA cruise, and you're all invited. And listen, you want to call, and you want to call them. If you've not made a reservation, you want to make it now. And we're going to talk to Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot later in the show, I hope, today. But it's important that you make your reservations now, and I'm going to tell you why. You've heard me say we have 2019 pricing right now. That is true. We were able to lock in 2019 pricing. And when you call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and he gives you the prices, you'll know. November is just a couple days away. And in November, the cruise line begins like Black Friday specials, holiday specials, and things like that. Our 2019 group pricing is lower than that pricing. However, it's going to disappear in November. So you got to call in at Cruise and Travel Depot and lock in your reservation at this 2019 price, 561-244-5779. Join us on our 10th annual MAGA cruise, 561-244-5779. If you get his voicemail, leave your name and number, and he will call you back. All right, join us. We have a great time. This is our biggest group yet. It's a great MAGA family. You'll have a great time. 561-244-5779. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. I want to address this last caller. You were very patient with this idiot. First of all, I was in rent control in New York as growing up with my mother and father. Okay, we were in rent control apartments in the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know what happened? They could only raise the rent a certain percentage, no matter what inflation was. So, in other words, what happened was there was a lot of apartments in the building. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was like five story, and two sides. And what happened with that is that the landlords, when I first was a little boy growing up, they had Persian carpets, they had beautiful.
Yeah, hold on, Rich, as I answer the phones. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yep, yeah, okay.
Chandeliers,
yeah, go ahead.
Chandeliers, they had marble flooring. What eventually happened was the superintendents, they started hiring people. The superintendent is somebody that maintains the building. Started to do less and less and less, and then they started. It deteriorated. It totally deteriorated.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point where they weren't fixing anything. Everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Well, what rent control is communism. It's the government seizing your property.
Yeah.
And when you who's the government to tell a business what they can charge like that, right? And you still have to maintain the building. You have to pay the it may have a mortgage, it has insurance. If something breaks, you got to fix it. I mean it's insanity. But this is not Zohan. This isn't Zohan's problem, okay? The problem with Zohan is that he doesn't care about any of that stuff. And that guy from Germany, he wants to turn it into a Muslim city. And this guy from Germany, he's excited about that idea. He just got triggered when I started pointing that out.
Yeah, they don't want to admit the fact that, Brian, you were on this about 3 weeks ago, and when we had a discussion, and you said this is not about communism. This is about just what you just said now, turning New York into a Muslim city.
That's right.
And eventually the country into a Muslim country.
Correct.
And this is the financial capital of the world, folks. And you got a slick-talking guy. He's not the Omar, who's not likable. Omar in Minnesota is not likable, but she's getting voted in by Muslims. And the same thing goes out in Dearborn, Michigan. You got a guy that actually got up in front of him and said to my million Muslims, he's brought the religion into this. And in other words, he basically said that the United States is a racist country against Muslims.
That's right.
And it was his call to vote for me because Americans are racist. And this is outrageous. This is what he really did. People don't really realize this. And that rally they had with the two commies, AOC and the old Jewish commie. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous.
Well, things are turning around in New York. Mamdani's lead against Cuomo has been cut in half. He, I was sharing yesterday how he was in a panic. I told you I called yesterday multiple times. I said I called BS on this story of the aunt with the hijab. And then we find later in the day, not only was it exposed as a lie, he had to go out in the city and have a press conference and explain that he lied. He had no aunt who wore a hijab, and it was his dad's cousin that he tried to turn it into, and he a total lie.
He made that up too. It was all, listen, after
exactly.
9/11, the only ones that were afraid at 9/11 were the American people. They were afraid when they saw somebody in a hijab. That was the truth. This country, the whole country was on edge, and I can imagine what New York was like.
And what Zohan did with that lie, I consider that to be stolen valor, and I'll tell you why. Anyone who was in New York City on 9/11, you are a veteran of a war. You're a war veteran. You were at the ground zero where the attack happened if you were in the city that day. And to go around and claim a 9/11 experience that you don't have is stolen valor. And not only that, was that a stolen valor comment, he was also lying about hate crimes committed by New Yorkers against a fictitious relative of his that didn't exist. It never happened. What he did was, and he is let me finish, Richie. A couple things here. One, Cuomo was cut Zohan's lead in half. Two, I was telling you yesterday, they have record early voting turnout. 60% of the early voters are 50 and above. So the young people are not turning out for him. So there is hope in New York City. I know Steve, when he gets on, is going to disagree with me, and I'm not predicting Zohan's going to lose. We don't have enough data yet, but it's in play now. It's in play.
Real quick. An apple doesn't fall far from the tree. His father, a professor in Columbia University, said that Hitler took his lessons from Abraham Lincoln.
His dad,
Do people out there realize what they're talking about?
Yeah.
This is his father.
Yep.
This is what he was taught. That Adolf Hitler was taught by, basically his message came from Abraham Lincoln. one of the greatest American
I've never
presidents.
heard some. I mean, and you got to. This is the thing. The way that his dad talked about Lincoln. I've played that on the air before. Maybe I'll play it today.
Oh.
It shows that he's from another civilization, not Western civilization. To think that
100%.
Abraham Lincoln is as close to an American saint as you can be, and to say the things that his dad said about Abraham Lincoln is so sick, twisted, and offensive. All right, Richie, if you're on hold, got to run. If you're on hold, stand by. Are you in pain? Well, that means you haven't gone to see Dr. Appleton. Go see Dr. You know, his robotic laser away pain treatment works on every type of pain you can imagine. Arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, sciatica, strains and sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, any type of joint pain. If you have pains related to a car accident, the list goes on. His robotic laser works. He's rid me of pain 7 times over 3 years that he's been with us here on the radio station. And you know what? None of the pains have returned because Dr. Appleton's robotic laser treatment repairs the damage that's causing the pain. It works. We have listeners that have traveled from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. You should do the same. The consultation is free. So the only thing you have to lose is your pain. Go see Dr. Appleton. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. And talk to him. Take advantage of that free consultation and talk to him about how the laser away pain treatment can get you your life back. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. We'll be right back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
But that's fine. If that's the way you want to live, that's fine.
Oh, you're the guy from Germany. It's not the way I want to win. I told you.
I just don't have to.
It's one call
per. By that.
I told you could call me back on another day. Okay. I don't understand. I didn't say I won or you won, but I had to run to take a commercial break.
Hello?
Yeah. All right. What's on your mind?
This is not the guy from Germany.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the guy from Germany. Okay. I apologize. You're on the air. We've got what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I've never been to Germany in my life.
Okay. I thought you were the previous caller. You sounded like him for a minute in the beginning, but you don't now. You don't have the accent. All right. You called me. What's on your mind? Oh my goodness. Give me the guy back from Germany. I'd rather talk to him than that guy. You know, and here's Zohan yesterday. He got busted lying.
Yes, I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago.
Oh, so the cousin passed away. See, now this is a lie too. Okay? First of all, they died, so you can't go question them. That's one, right? Dead men tell no tales, or dead women in this instance. And he's trying to elicit sympathy, like a little boy, right? Trying to get sympathy. Oh, my dad's dead cousin. Feel bad, they're dead, and you can't question them because they're no longer here. So I'm calling BS on this story too.
Yes, I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own making.
What do you think about all that?
Wow. I mean, so he's attacking people for pointing out that he lied, right? That he lied. And, okay, I want to cue that up for after the break. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Hold on, guys. I got to get something together here for after the break. Okay. We'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in about 1 minute. So if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. We'll go to the phones when we get back. Definitely got to play that one. Okay, about 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show as the Zohan Mamdani campaign is derailed and is falling apart. Question is there enough time for it to completely fall apart? And it looks like New York is in play right now. New York is in play. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano Beach.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Great. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to take this off speaker.
By the way, guys,
yeah,
but hold on 1 second, Chris. You know, that guy I was talking to, I do believe was the guy calling from Germany. I do believe that he was changing his voice in one of those calls. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
No, absolutely. Great call. I mean, I've been getting that lately myself. As soon as you mention a truth or a fact, all of a sudden the bias comes out and they get offended. But that was an excellent call. I mean, now me, myself, as a Marine and retired law enforcement and a real estate agent, he struck out with every count. I mean, come on. And this guy, Mamdani, whatever his name is, he even wants to force people to go to a mosque. You know, come on. If that's not, trying to turn that city around. But we don't need that. I know my family. I grew up a little further up north, White Plains, New York, just outside of New York City.
Yeah.
And so, we won't be voting for the race, but my parents are still there. And the taxes are through the roof. But we suffer. The whole state suffers from New York City's decisions, money-wise. But still, rent control and all that other nonsense. If that's not communist, it's certainly socialism. And, government getting in our business like that is just ridiculous.
Lying, let me tell you, this lie that he admitted that he made up about the aunt with the hijab never existed. Never happened. In fact, the aunt in question didn't even live in New York and didn't wear a hijab. So, I mean it when I say that is stolen valor. To have fake 9/11 stories is stolen valor. And stolen valor is a major moral crime in the United States.
Sure. And worse than that, the fact that we're not supposed to be suspicious about any mosque that harbors terrorists or any suspicious of anyone that plays a part, because even those that say, oh, that's just extremists. No, I didn't see too many people from those mosques condemning 9/11, and that was a big deal too. So, it is what it is. So to try and say that we're not supposed to be suspicious of anyone, or yes, it is what it is.
That's exactly right.
You condone that, and
you heard the Muslim guy that I called the Army veteran that won't tell us what he did in the Army.
Exactly.
What was that about? Was he really in the Army, or was he just embarrassed of what he did in the Army? I don't know. If he served, he shouldn't be embarrassed. Richie was a cook. That's a great, people got to eat. Richie's smart. I'd rather be even though he was on the front lines, I'd rather be a cook than be a rifleman, wouldn't you? In a war zone.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. But anyway, he's ready to leave Germany and move to New York. You could tell he's so energized. And, I ask people a lot about themselves. And I don't do it to make fun of people or attack people. I believe that we all have political opinions based on our personal situation and background. That's what drives us to have our opinions.
It's relevant.
Exactly.
It's relevant, and there's nothing wrong with preferences either. So, I mean, if that's how I feel, that's how I feel. It's still America until they take it over. But to chastise us for voting for a certain person, or this cancel culture, or I mean, look what they do. They boycott. I mean, that's all communism to silence us and
That's
if
right.
it's not your way, come on.
That's right. All right, Chris,
So, yeah,
good to
we
talk to you.
We don't need that.
All right, you take care.
Have a good
All right,
one.
you too. You too. If you're on hold, stand by. Just a quick mention. I talked about this in detail on my podcast yesterday, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But I did some. I had a theory that they're building a bunker, that the ballroom at the White House is a cover for a bunker. And I did a lot of research on the White House bunker yesterday. There's very little information because it's classified about the bunker under the White House. But I found out a couple of things. The presidential bunker is under the East Wing. I never knew that. I assumed that the bunker was under the main mansion. I don't know why. I just assumed that. Didn't you guys? The presidential bunker is believed to be 5 stories deep under the East Wing. So this, we are on the verge of war with Russia. Russia wants all of Ukraine. They're not willing to budge. President Trump in Japan was talking about some new U.S. submarine with nuclear capabilities off the coast of Russia right now. They're building a new, I believe, that there is a new, better, advanced, modern bunker being built in place of the old one, and it's underneath the East Wing. And that's what's going on here. The ballroom is a complete cover for it, and everything that's coming out backs that up. So on Air Force One, on his way to make Japan great again, the reporters were asking Trump about running in 2028. And they asked him, is he thinking about running as J.D. Vance's vice president in 2028? And that's what begins this conversation. This is the president and one of those, they call them gaggles, on Air Force One.
Well, we have great people. I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here.
Marco.
We have J.D., obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible.
Same.
I have my best
He'd
numbers.
love to run in 28.
If you read it, am I not ruling it out? I mean, you'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test. Have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard. They're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
Okay, so President Trump, he's challenging Jasmine Crockett and AOC to an IQ test, but which I'd love that. That'd be great. But he also did not rule out running in 2028. I like that. I'm very happy that he didn't rule that out. Okay, so we've got a lot of things that are going on. We, and it's all good. Everything that is going on is so good. I was watching this morning on X, a Coast Guard boat captured a drug cartel boat. Have you seen any of this video? They're yelling at them in Spanish. So I'm not going to play because I don't understand Spanish, even though I took it in high school and college. And I don't know, they may be using profanities, I don't know, but they have their guns drawn. But one thing I notice, the boat is very similar to the boats that we've been taking out. So you can tell that the cartel boat captured by the Coast Guard is the same type of boat, that ones that they've been taking out with the, it was a little smaller, but it was the same color, same style. And you can tell that, the ones we're taking out are consistent with the ones that the Coast Guard just stopped. So this is, some great things. I mean, we got the war on drugs, which we're winning. We got our border shut down. We've got Antifa shut down. The government shutdown is so bad that even the government workers union is putting pressure on the Democrats this morning to stop the Schumer shutdown. Did you see that? I mean, things are going so well and so perfect. And then the president, of course, making Japan great again. The lady prime minister who loves Trump gave him as a gift Abe's putter that she gave him as a gift, which is just a beautiful gift. So he's firmed up this great relationship with this MAGA prime minister in Japan. And things are just going well. And that's why the liberals that have been calling me are so unglued. Now, I want to tell you guys, November 1st is Saturday. And, of course, that begins the Christmas shopping season. No better place to do your Christmas shopping than MyPillow.com. Right now, there's huge specials going on at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and also free shipping on orders that are $100 or more. And don't forget, you can use our promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back. That. I gotta play this to see if this is safe for radio. This is a woman, she's lost some of her family, they're Trump supporters.
If you, like me, have lost a family member to MAGA, this video may be for you. I've tried my damnedest not to come on here and crash out since that fuck has been in office.
Oh, no, that's not safe for radio.
The day after the election. But what I do give a fuck about today is this interview.
No, that's not safe for radio. I guess I'll play that on my podcast this afternoon. I had to do a check. I'm glad I did the check. That is not safe for radio. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right, welcome back. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're just tuning in, there was an assassination plot against Attorney General Pam Bondi. This is Fox News' reporting on it yesterday.
All right, breaking news, top of the new hour here. And another threat of political violence in America, the FBI making an arrest in a chilling murder-for-hire plot targeting Attorney General Pam Bondi. We are learning brand new details at this hour. Welcome back as America Reports heads into hour 2. I'm Sandra Smith in New York.
Scary stuff, Sandra. I'm John Roberts. In Washington, the 29-year-old Minnesota man is accused of putting out a $45,000 hit on the Attorney General. It all started on TikTok when a post with the bounty started going viral before setting off a swift federal investigation.
And the suspect's rap sheet is long, and his online activity reveals ties to anarchist symbolism and anti-government literature.
Our justice correspondent David Spunt live here in Washington. What else are we learning, David, about the suspect?
Well, John, he is charged with threatening Attorney General Bondi in a TikTok post. According to authorities in this affidavit that we just saw a couple of hours ago, unsealed recently, he allegedly offered a $45,000 bounty. In the post, there's a photo, and this was on TikTok, a photo of the Attorney General with a sniper red dot, and it reads, "Wanted Pam Bondi, reward $45,000, dead or alive, preferably dead." That's a quote. He is in custody. Additionally, his TikTok page had anarchist symbols, according to the affidavit filed. The affidavit reads, quote, "Additionally, the suspect user's TikTok page had a link to an anarchist FAQ book pinned to his page. According to open source research, as well as based on your affiance training and experience, anarchism is a political philosophy and movement that seeks to abolish all institutions that perpetuate authority, coercion, or hierarchy, primarily targeting the state and capitalism." Now, FBI agents, John and Sandra, from Detroit, Michigan, received a tip from someone who was on TikTok, noticed the post in their feed, then reported this post. The FBI worked with Google, Comcast, and TikTok to find this guy. Google helped with IP logins, IP locations. They also were able to find his email. Now, according to the affidavit, he has a multi-state criminal history, as you mentioned, including a 2022 felony stalking and domestic assault misdemeanor charge. We reached out to the Justice Department. So far, we're being told no comment.
Okay, so an assassination attempt foiled by Kash Patel on Attorney General Pam Bondi. Obviously, another leftist. So just in the less than 2 months, we've had, this is what we know of. Yesterday, an assassination attempt on Pam Bondi stopped by the Kash Patel FBI. About a week ago, the Justice Department and FBI stopped an assassination attempt on Benny Johnson. Last week, there were 2 incidents that we found out about with President Trump. One man drove his car into the front gate of the White House trying to get in. Then they found that sniper's nest in the tree by the airport with a line of sight to Air Force One in Palm Beach. And less than 2 months ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then, of course, the assassination attempts on the president, one of which he got shot in. This is what's going on here with the left is beyond insane. It is they're incredibly violent. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first assassination attempt on a sitting cabinet member since 1865. During the Lincoln assassination, there was an attempt on multiple cabinet members on that day that were unsuccessful. So this is the first that I know of assassination attempt on a sitting cabinet member since 1865. So like 160 years. First one in 160 years. Why, after 160 years, would there be an assassination attempt on a sitting cabinet member? The first one in 160 years. I'll tell you why. The indictments, right? You see Brennan on TV. He looks terrified. Comey. It was reported in Newsweek and other sources yesterday that there's 2 federal grand juries that are going to convene starting in January, one in Fort Pierce, one in Fort Lauderdale, and they're all about the lawfare, a lot of it involving the break-in at Mar-a-Lago. There are other grand juries in other parts of the country that Pam Bondi has in place. And there's already Florida grand juries. We know already, because of John Solomon's reporting and just the news, that Pam Bondi has at least one grand jury already in Fort Pierce. Now she's going to have another one. That's why they did this. Now, this assassin seems to be Antifa, another patsy, but that's what's going on here. And enough of this nonsense that the violence is coming from the right. There is no violence coming from the right. All the violence is coming from the left, from the Democrats, towards MAGA Republicans, time and time again. And we've had a lot of violence, a lot of assassination attempts, including one assassination in the last, 6-7 weeks? In fact, we may have had more violent acts committed politically than any other time in modern history. When you think about it, a cabinet member, right? Charlie Kirk, who is tight with the president, and Benny Johnson is one of the people that's kind of like taking over Turning Point to a certain extent. Pam Bondi. These are very targeted, big time attacks to try to stop MAGA. And this Pam Bondi assassination attempt, they only one of the network news outlets carried. I can't remember which one, but 2 of the 3 did not carry it. They don't want you to know about it because they want to promote this really with just a lie. And the lie that they want to promote is that the violence comes from the right. No, it's coming exclusively from the left against the right. And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that they continue to call MAGA people fascist and Hitler and all of that. I mean, that obviously has a pretty major role in it. But this is really a frightening time to be MAGA. You know, if you're MAGA, you have to be very, very careful these days because of the things that the Democrats are doing. Now, I pulled this up, and then we'll go back to the phones. This is, now that Mamdani's on the ropes, and New York is actually in play right now, which I'll recap after the top of the hour. Richie and I were talking earlier, and we referenced this. This is Mamdani's father talking about Abraham Lincoln.
America is the genesis of what we call settler colonialism. And the American model was exported all around the world. Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations. They herded American Indians into separate territories. For the Nazis, this was the inspiration. Hitler realized 2 things. One, that genocide was doable.
Wow.
It is possible to do genocide. That's what Hitler realized. Second thing Hitler realized is that you don't have to have a common citizenship. You can differentiate between people. The Nuremberg laws were patterned after American laws. Anyway, the U.S. put Indians in reservations. The U.S. invented the model.
Wow. So Hitler and the Nazis modeled what they did, not just on the United States, but specifically on President Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is almost a saint so far as presidents go. He is on a pedestal for very good reason. He freed the slaves, and he gave his life doing it. That's the house that Mamdani grew up in. Abraham Lincoln is the model for Hitler. I want to talk about the Sloman's Shield Link. This is an absolutely amazing thing. The Sloman Shield Link integrates your security system, your Sloman Shield, with your everyday automation at home that just will turn your home into an uber modern house. You could connect your alarm system, your cameras, your shades, your thermostat, your television, even your garage door, all in one app. With just one click, you can set a scene that controls multiple devices at the same time. As an example, you can disarm your alarm and instantly adjust your thermostat, turn on the lights, and even get the TV and audio system ready to go. Really amazing. You're in George Jetson land here. It's amazing. And here's the best part. You don't have to figure it out yourself. Sloman's gives you professional installation and programming. They also have 24/7 central station monitoring and automation support. It works on the brands and the devices you already have, so you're not starting over with new devices. Give them a call. Call Sloman's right now. Ask them about the Sloman's Shield link. You know, it turns your home in. They say smart home, and it does turn your home into a smart home. I say George Jetson because it's exactly that. Here's the number: 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We have less than a minute till the top of the hour, so I don't want to have to be short. We'll take calls after the break. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. And we got a lot more to cover, but we should all be very excited that Zohan's victory is not a sure thing any longer. It is in play. I'm going to recap this after the top of the hour. But there is a chance that Cuomo or Curtis Sliwa could pull this through. Zohan is in big trouble. All the new data, all the new polls point just to that. All right, we'll be back right after this break. Okay. We'll be back shortly, guys. Okay. We'll be back in 1 minute. 1 minute. Really? All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. We've got all kinds of, some sad news, but a lot of great news. I mean, the sad news had a good ending. There was an assassination attempt on Pam Bondi that was stopped, so it's sad that it happened, but good that it was stopped, right? So we stopped it. But the really good news today is Zohan is on the ropes in New York. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, I said this before. The U.S. Marshal has a sign up on the wall saying, jails are full of stupid people.
Yes.
What kind of idiot? What kind of idiot puts a post on TikTok that he wants 45,000 to kill?
Well,
Pam
they've been
Bondi?
doing that with the ICE agents, right? They've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's same thing, but a big difference when it's the Attorney General. You know, really. I mean, I could see them putting something up saying, you know, I don't like her, or blah blah blah. But to say a 45,000 reward.
Well,
the
this
dumbest
is,
thing I've ever heard.
Listen, they're all stupid. I mean, look at, they all get caught. But here's the thing. This is, to my knowledge, this is the first assassination attempt on a sitting cabinet member in 160 years. And it just so happens to be the Trump cabinet. There's a big problem here on the left. A big problem.
They're insane, and they just, there's something wrong with these people, man. I don't know what triggers them to be like this, but that's how they are, and they're dangerous.
Because the left continue to call them Hitler, and they convince people, these patsies, that there's nothing wrong with stopping Hitler. That's it.
Yeah, and everybody associated with him. Well, I'm still wearing my Trump 28 hat, and we'll see.
Absolutely.
So everybody, every time nobody ever said anything negative to me so far. Everybody gave me the thumbs up.
I don't know where you're hanging out at, because I'm getting all kinds of stuff all over the place.
Well, I'm telling you, I think it's just there's a few of these crazy people, but that's all it takes is a couple of crazy people to mess up everything.
All right. Well, listen,
anyway,
Doug, I appreciate the call. Now, I was talking to you guys that Mamdani's in big trouble. He's in big trouble in New York. He got busted in this lie about the aunt. The aunt never existed, right? Now he's trying to tell us it's a dead cousin of his dad's, but he made the whole story up. He did a stolen valor 9/11 story. He had to come out and have a press event yesterday and explain himself. The latest polls show that Governor Cuomo has cut Zohan's lead in half, and then this is in the New York Post today. Now, early voting turnout's very high, and now we're getting the exit polls. Listen to this. Boomers, that's baby boomers, Gen Xers dominate New York City's early voting tallies. And here's the article. This is in the New York Post, okay? So I'm reading from. Political baby Zohan Mamdani is firing up boomers, and it could be a bad sign for his bid to become the next mayor of New York City. Voters 50 and up accounted for nearly 60% of ballots cast during the first 2 days of early voting in the city's mayoral election, data shows. So this right here is very positive to stop Mamdani, right? Because he got in luckily. He got in on luck on his part. It was on a lark, low turnout. people weren't paying attention, and they had a bunch of young people turn up and vote for him. People in New York don't want this guy. 60% of the voters being Gen X and above, that's 50 and above. It's crazy for me to think that Gen X is like old because I'm Gen X, but we're getting there. This is a good sign that New York will be saved. This is the New York Post I'm reading from. Voters 50 and up accounted for nearly 60% of ballots cast during the first 2 days of early voting in the city's mayoral election, data shows. The early flood of ballots cast by Gen Xers, baby boomers, and the oldest New Yorkers, first reported, is likely far more helpful to Governor Cuomo, a moderate looking to keep the 34-year-old socialist Mamdani out of City Hall. It is unquestionable that the higher the turnout, the more it favors Cuomo, especially the age, too. Higher turnout early and old. The more the turnout, you pick up more people who are nonpartisan and aren't super engaged, and that favors the middle. I mean, just think about it. Zohan is so radical that Cuomo, with all of the things he's responsible for, is considered moderate. Roughly 164,000 voters hit polling sites Saturday and Sunday, with voters aged 50 and up accounting for 95% of those ballots, City Board of Election data shows. Their turnout so far has drastically outpaced the nearly 67,000 votes cast during the June Democrat primaries' first 2 days. See, he got in because no one was paying attention, low turnout. Mamdani, during that contest, rode a wave of enthusiasm among young voters to shockingly clinch the Democratic nomination, walloping Cuomo, who is now running as an independent. See, yeah, this is so great. I mean, I know it's crazy that, here I am rooting for Cuomo. I never would have thought. The enemy of my enemy. The pollster, his name is Graves, said that while Mamdani seems a lock to win again among young voters, the overall support isn't particularly deep. This is the pollster talking. The reality is Mamdani has very deep support in the young, but it's not very broad, whereas Cuomo has deep support in the 50-plus, and they tend to show up the most. Nearly 19,000 independents also voted early, with 10,000 of those being in the 50-plus range. Cuomo's sweet spot, the data reveals. So everything about the early voting leads Cuomo. People 50 and above are not going to hand the city over to a child who's never had a job. Democratic New Yorkers overall cast 121,000 early ballots compared to 10,000 by Republicans, the numbers show. The Upper East and West Sides, 12th Congressional District, a potential Cuomo stronghold, led the turnout with nearly 30,000 votes. Another 18,000 votes came from the 11th Congressional District, covering all of conservative Staten Island and a sliver of Southwest Brooklyn. And see, now here's the other thing. Whoever, early voting is so important, and Republicans, we were very much against that always for all kinds of reasons. And then in the last campaign, President Trump pushed early voting, and that brought us a massive landslide victory, right? When you win in the early vote on election day, you're however far ahead already. So the other side's got to play catch up. It's very difficult. Historically, especially in municipal races, whoever is ahead in the early voting tends to win the overall election. Now, this one's a little different because Cuomo's running as an independent and all, but still, everything seems to be in his favor here. We're actually finding an instance where Democrats aren't just voting for the person with the D next to their name. Let's see here. I lost my place in the article. Well, it goes on and on. Regardless, the early voting turnout, 60% are Gen X and baby boomers. So they're 50 plus. 50 plus. Now you got to ask yourself this. If your average, even Democrat in New York, they're 50 and above. Do you see them voting for a kid who's never had a job and who's Muslim in the city? These are people that were there and experienced 9/11. Don't just remember it, but experience 9/11. What do you think they're going to do? Now, I was telling you guys, Saturday is November 1st. Holiday season is here. You got a lot of things coming up, right? You got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, you've got Hanukkah, you've got New Year's events, you've got your Christmas party at work. You're going to see people that you see once a year or every 5 or 10 or 20 years. You want to look great. And you can do that by going to Coastal Weight Loss Secret and losing those pounds. Now, remember, I lost more than 25 pounds in the first month before the cruise. You want to look good for Christmas. When those people you haven't seen in a year or haven't seen in 5 or 10 or 20 years, you'll be thinner than the last time they saw you. And you know what? They won't be. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call and schedule your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300. Remember, no matter where you're located in the United States, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you. 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be back after this. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to get into next. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. All right, stand by. Show is flying by. Flying by. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So much going on, lots of great news. To the phones, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, yes, there you go. That's the liberal response. Okay, so if you're on hold, hang in there. There's a couple other things I want to mention. The October surprise is something that is historically exclusive with Democrats, okay? The only time that I know of where there's been a Republican October surprise is when the Trump campaign released a laptop from hell, right? And we know what that turned into. But the Democrats are specialists when it comes to the October surprise, and what Zohan's going through right now is just that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's John. I'm calling from Florida.
Mm.
I'm a native New Yorker. I grew up there. And
Yeah.
like most New Yorkers back in the 80s, I grew up pretty much a conservative Democrat. I just think there has to be some macro structural problem inside the DNC in more of a philosophical way. I just don't understand why they keep putting up these ultra-progressive candidates thinking that somehow it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't understand why younger American people don't understand that the West has been fighting communism and for 200-plus years for a reason. And I think that also they don't understand.
Well, I'll tell you what happened with the Democrats. You're over-intellectualizing the Democrats, okay? Because Democrats don't think too clearly. After 9/11, when Obama was president, and Obama's 8 years, he brought in, we're learning now, Muslims by the millions, right? That's why Michigan and Minnesota have changed. Yeah. And I remember there was an article in the local paper here in South Florida, in Broward County, which is where Fort Lauderdale is, and it's a Democrat stronghold. And this was about 10 to 15 years ago. And it was an article talking to the local Democrat party bosses where they were very excited. They went to a meeting that some Muslim organization was doing, and what the local Democrat party was doing in Florida was doing outreach to the Muslims. And they had a quote from one of the Democrat bosses in the news article. This was in the Sun Sentinel 10, 15 years ago. And they were so excited that they had this new demographic, Muslims, that they could reach out to. Mm. And the Democrats, the Democrat Party don't care about anything, right? They care about power and money. So they just you got to have the power to get the money. So they're a loose coalition of groups that don't like each other over the years. And they did this outreach to Muslims, and their party has been taken over by these Tlaibs and Ilhan Omar types. And Zohan's making the move in New York. So what's happened is these radical activists have over the last few years have taken over their party, and it's just destroyed them. And that's what's happened.
Well, that may be a microcosm, unfortunately, for the future. I lived in China for 20 years doing manufacturing, and I just moved back here 4 years ago. And
what kind of manufacturing did you do in China?
I own a injection mold plant.
Oh my goodness! So you live there full time in China?
Yeah, I speak fluent Mandarin and everything else.
Wow.
But, now what I do is I still make the molds over there, but I airship the molds here to the U.S. to do the production now.
Yeah, well, that's
So,
good.
Yeah, but I just think that there's something rotten at the core.
There's
of
always
that party
something
right
rotten
now.
with Democrats, okay? They used to own black people.
Mm.
All right, I appreciate the call. So when you're talking about a party like the Democrats, they've always been rotten. They've never been anything other than rotten, okay? That's it. They used to lynch black people. They own black people. They were, half their party was built on abortion not that long ago. That's kind of faded away because of the pills and all that, But it's never been a party where it was anything but rotten and immoral. The Democrat Party has always been a devilish, evil, satanic party that is about nothing but evil, okay? And these October surprises that have been coming out from Mamdani are absolutely amazing. Fox News had a big story about his fundraising. This was yesterday. Inside the Mamdani machine, Soros cash. And let me go into this article. Yeah, I've got time. In late September 2017, Linda Sarsour, remember her? Palestinian activist, is behind Zohan. So he's got Sarsour, who is a very psychotic, evil, connected woman. And he's got Soros and a lot of foreign cash coming in. All these things are coming from the Democrat Party machine because what I had been counting on, and now it looks like they're finally taking action, is the Democrat Party machine not allowing the Zohan crowd to take over their party. And they're doing it for selfish reasons because the Democrats don't want to give up all the corruption that they have in New York City, right? I mean, it's a multi-generational business they have there, all built on corruption. Now, I want to talk about a new sponsor that just joined the program last week, and that's George Colony. He's a real estate agent, but not just any old real estate agent. He's a businessman. And, here's the thing about real estate. When it comes to buying your house, and by the way, George Colony handles more than just residential, commercial, everything, whatever it is, single-family homes. He does it all, multifamily home, whatever it is you're looking for, he can handle it when it comes to real estate in Florida. But for most people, the biggest financial decision you will ever make is the purchase of your new home. So when you're buying or selling that home, who are you dealing with as an agent? And who are they? And what experience do they have? Chances are, in most instances, the person that you're putting the biggest financial decision that you and your family will ever make, the buying or selling of your home, is being made by someone that works as a bartender on the weekends, or is a wife that has nothing to do while the kids are in school, or maybe they work at Chili's during the week. And nothing's wrong with those jobs or professions, but they're not expert businessmen, financial people, or really even experts in real estate. You don't want to put your biggest financial decision in the hands of people like that. George Colony has over 6 decades, you heard that right, of experience in real estate and business. He specializes in every facet of residential and commercial real estate, from industrial and office spaces to retail, even tenant representation, or your own personal home. He's bought and sold over $5 billion with a B dollars in real estate. He's founder of an 8-figure business. George Colony knows the market. He understands the trends. He'll give you straight expert talk and advice that you need to make the right move, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. And I was introduced to George Colony by Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing. Give George Colony a call. This number rings directly on his cell phone, 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
I haven't suggested that.
Very strange. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 1 minute. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee. How you doing?
I'm good. So you have to really stop lying. Your white power hour is going to start catching on that.
What did I lie about? What's the lie I told? I missed that.
For one, Trump did not really get an attempted assassination. That thing was staged from the beginning.
What, the one where he was shot? The one where he was shot, or the one where the guy went to prison?
Where's the wound?
In his ear.
In his ear? I've seen that ear. That ear is fine.
Well, yeah, okay.
All
right.
That was a lie.
Okay.
From
All
the
right.
very
Now that you've established your lack of credibility, have you voted for mayor yet? In the early voting?
Already, I told you.
And you voted.
And the reason Kamala lost was because she wouldn't back up Hamas.
Well, so here we have
more accurately.
Yeah. So
not so much.
So things are really turning against Zohan in New York. He got caught lying about 9/11.
Yeah, unindicted means he's innocent.
No, he's an unindicted co-conspirator. An unindicted co-conspirator. Doesn't mean he's innocent, no. He means he was just not indicted. All right, we've got a bad connection with you, so as much as I want to toy with a liberal idiot that voted for Mamdani, I can't, the phone's too much. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, brother, I'm calling. It's Jamar, man. I just want to say good morning and God bless you, man. And we thank you for, for spreading the message, spreading the truth, put it like that. And a lot of people,
Yeah, a lot of people have to understand that President Trump is trying to bring the country together.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get that out. We got to get that out the way first and foremost.
Well, he has brought the country together.
If anybody has any pushback against that, well, just leave, man. MAGA, we're not a cult, man. We're not. We're a religion.
A religion?
And we love our leader, man.
We're not in a religion. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry, man.
We're in a religion. MAGA's not a religion. It's a political movement.
Well, to me it is, man.
Really?
I eat, sleep, and live MAGA all 24 hours in my day.
And are you Christian?
Hello?
Are you Christian?
Of course.
Okay, MAGA's not a religion.
Yes, sir.
MAGA is not a religion.
Oh.
You know that.
But we're a movement then. Put it like that. You know, and people keep asking about these Epstein files. They're boring.
Okay.
And all that stuff that they, all that stuff that they
All right,
do.
I appreciate that. You know, again, here we got another liberal pretending to be MAGA. It's over and over again. Oh, I wanted to mention something. I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want to play it. But Tucker Carlson, Tucker Carlson, he did something yesterday that, and I don't know how many people are going to pick up on this particular part. Yeah, seminar caller, fake MAGA, we're a religion, all this stuff. Give me a break. He interviewed Nick Fuentes on his program yesterday. Did any of you catch this? I caught a clip or two on X. I'm not going to sit and listen to 2 hours of Nick Fuentes with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has turned a lot of people off for his anti-Israel positions. And I was really surprised that he was asked to speak at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, to tell you the truth. I was very surprised at that. I thought his positions on Israel and things he said were going to stop that from happening, but it didn't. So I don't know what the situation is with him and Turning Point and everything that's going on. But he did something that was so anti-Semitic yesterday and anti-Israel, and you have to have a really trained ear. Now, I'm not saying that this is one of those dog whistles, because a dog whistle you can't hear. This one you can hear if you pay attention. So he had Nick Fuentes on, and Nick Fuentes has been doing the conservative circuit, and Nick Fuentes is 2025's David Duke. Nick Fuentes is 2025's Fred Phelps, Reverend Fred Phelps. And what happens every decade or two, the liberals have their favorite conservative. They're usually a bigot of some kind, and then they try to promote them and give them lots of publicity and try to present them as the face of the Republican Party. And Nick Fuentes is the new one. But he had Nick Fuentes on and Tucker Carlson yesterday, and people call me about him sometimes, and he's an irrelevant guy that they're propping up. And I've seen them do this in the past. You know, when Trump first ran for president, remember this? They brought David Duke out of the cobwebs and put him on CNN, and he was saying good things about Trump. That's how they roll. They get these Klansmen and things, and they put them out there, get them to say nice things about whoever the prominent Republican officials are at the day to try to discount us. And Nick Fuentes is what they're trying to do that with today. So he has Nick Fuentes on Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson apologizes him for some things he said about him in the past, which is strange. And then Nick Fuentes talks to him about what radicalized him, and he starts blaming Mark Levin and how he listened to Mark Levin when he was in high school. And Mark Levin this and Mark Levin that. And he got radicalized by Mark Levin, and he gave a specific quote. This was Fuentes on with Tucker yesterday. He heard, this is what radicalized him. This is what turned him into a white nationalist, is listening to a Jew on the radio every day when he was in high school, Mark Levin. So goes the story. That's pretty insane, isn't it? But he says that he heard Mark Levin say that the United States was becoming majority non-white, and that's what radicalized him into being a white supremacist. I don't know who's behind these guys. I know a lot of people believe, I don't know, a lot of people believe that Tucker Carlson is getting money from Qatar. I don't know. I've heard this. A lot of people believe that Tucker is recruiting other conservatives like Megyn Kelly. But when Nick Fuentes tells Tucker Carlson that he was radicalized to become a white nationalist by listening to Mark Levin, that's hardcore anti-Israel anti-Semitism right there. It's very sophisticated. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know if it was Fuentes, Tucker, or who their handlers are or whatever. I don't know. But that is some really hardcore anti-Semitism going after Mark Levin in that way. And I don't know if Mark Levin's going to respond to it or not. This was on Tucker Carlson's show yesterday. It's pretty high-level sophistication of anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli rhetoric. And it's one of the most sophisticated examples I've heard in a long time from anti-Semites. Blaming a Jew for becoming a white nationalist. That's a new one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mark from New York. How you doing today, Brian?
Hey, Mark. All right. What's going on?
Hey, you sit here and cry about the left calling you guys Nazis and fascists, and then you spend 3 hours every day calling Democrats demons and evil and psychos and stuff
well,
like
there's
that.
there's a difference.
Strike back?
There's a what?
No, there's not. No, there's not.
What do you mean?
You're screaming vitriol the entire time.
What?
Charging up your base, making Democrats seem unhinged and evil and everything like that.
You said strike back. What does that mean?
To call you guys Nazis and fascists and call you guys out like you guys are. Strike back has a lot of meanings. It doesn't mean violence.
Who's a Nazi? Who's a fascist?
You said that the Democrats are always calling you guys Nazis and fascists.
They are.
You said that literally
Yes.
20 minutes ago.
Yes.
And then I listened to you talk about how evil the Democrats are.
Well,
and you act like you guys are just like these weak little victims. Oh, they're so mean to
The
us.
Democrats,
They're always
listen,
picking on us.
President Trump just shut down. By the way, are you serious or are you pulling my leg? Are you playing devil's advocate or are you serious with this stupidity?
No, I can never ever agree with anything that you have to say.
You're being serious. Okay, I wanted to make sure that you're being serious and I'm pulling my leg. President Trump just shut down the Democrat slave passage from the southern border. It was a slave passage. The Democrats are behind that. That's evil. That's evil.
Yes, because there's all those roofers, those evil roofers. They're just slave labor. All the roofers. I work in dumpsters, and I deal with these guys all the time. They're the hardest working people that I've ever seen.
No, didn't you hear last week? One of them. Excuse me. One of them had this baby and organ harvesting operation that President Trump shut down. Right? They were bringing pregnant women to the border, giving them C-sections, taking their babies, and then doing organ harvesting. Kristi Noem reported this on TV last week to the president live. That was all brought to you by the Democrats. That's evil. That's President Trump stopped that.
Yes, the Democrats did that. That was absolutely a Democrat.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Everything's evil. You guys are so victimized.
Tell me what.
I feel really bad for you. I envy you.
Tell me what's not evil about the Democrats. What are they proposing that's not bad?
Oh, I don't know, all the stuff. You can't talk about it, but the subsidies that they're trying to get back to the American people. You see,
what are you talking about?
Premium is exploding.
What subsidies? What are you talking about? We just got the biggest tax cut in history. Are you sure you're not pulling my leg? Hold on a second. Are you sure you're not pulling my leg? You're serious. President Trump just gave us
Brian, you know I am.
No, I'm shocked. President Trump just gave Excuse me. President Trump just passed the largest tax break in history in the big, beautiful bill.
Yes, and it destroyed Medicaid and stuff like that.
It didn't destroy Medicaid. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. You're not serious. He took the illegals off the Medicaid.
Okay. Then why are nursing homes all over the country shutting down? You guys
I don't know of any nursing. I don't know any nursing homes shutting down. But if their business is based on Medicaid fraud, they're going out of business. Come on.
You can't help but not see the bad things that are happening unless it's Democrats. that are doing it.
I find
it.
Listen, I find it hard to believe that you're serious. I really do. I feel I feel like I'm being trolled by you. These stupid things you're saying here. You call you say you're from New York. New York, we have this mayor's race going on, and you're coming out in favor of Medicaid fraud. I mean, we got this guy in New York.
You realize?
You
realize the majority of New York doesn't live in New York City, right? You realize that, right? We're not all New York City people.
Yeah,
like,
but so goes New York, so goes New York City, so goes the state, and then maybe the country or the Northeast.
Yeah, I'm against Ilhan. I don't, that guy,
right.
We're forgetting about 9/11 when we prop this guy up. I get that.
All right.
What I'm saying is,
I've got to run for a break.
And you're just like, let's talk about Trump.
ACA, that's Obamacare. Yeah, we want Obamacare to evaporate. It's destructive.
But West Virginians go up $24,000.
What?
They voted for Trump.
Yes.
So in West Virginia, their premiums are going to go up by $24,000. They voted primarily for Trump. Trump's hurting his own people.
All right, I got to run for a break. But I got to ask you guys, can a man be that stupid? The things I feel like that guy was pulling my leg. I feel like that was like almost like a conservative MAGA seminar caller. There's no way that somebody could believe the things that he said and be like a grown man in the United States. That seems like impossible to me. We're going to take our last break of the hour and be right back. Tomorrow I'll be at the radio station. Hey, it's Brian. Hey, again, I'm going to put you on hold. I'll be with you in a couple minutes. Hold on. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. The countdown has begun. Our 10th annual MAGA cruise will be here before you know it. Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Hey, now this is this is really a special alert we're doing today. And I'll just Ian and I haven't talked before we went on here, but I wanted to highlight something, Ian, on this. We have this 2019 pricing. We have a group rate that Ian was able to negotiate with the cruise line. You know, Ian has a great relationship with Celebrity Cruise Line. This is our 10th annual MAGA cruise, so we got an incredible deal. And we've been talking about this 2019 pricing. And then Saturday is November 1st, right? Begins the holiday period. And there's going to be Black Friday pricing and all kinds of holiday specials coming along. But this pricing that we have in our group space is better than those deals, right, Ian?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the savings that the group rate guarantees in conjunction with the current promotions is way better than what's going to be offered for Black Friday. Black Friday will be our guests' opportunity to book their premium drink package, their premium internet, and if they want to do specialty dining, which I don't think is necessary with our group, do that as well.
Yeah, so what's going to happen, though, as we get into the holiday season and the cruise line starts with their holiday pricing, Black Friday specials on the cruise fares, we're going to lose our group rate at that point, right? So the group rate is that we have now, which will be the lowest price that we'll be able to offer on the cruise, is going on right now. And when these new specials begin in November, we're going to have to give up that group rate. It's going to evaporate. So now's the time that you want to make your reservation.
Correct. I'll have to release all of the group rates by before the end of the month. We have a few left because I grabbed more due to popular demand. They gave me some more, and they're selling.
Yeah, they are. And this is our largest MAGA group we've ever had. Those of you that have been on the MAGA cruises in the past, this is our largest group we've had. And we're going to have a great time on the Celebrity Beyond. We're putting together lifelong memory shore excursions, which we'll be telling you about soon. But it's important to call Ian, make your reservation. And, when you call Ian, he'll give you the price. And the price varies on so many different factors, what cabin, where on the ship, different things. But the one thing I wanted to talk about, Ian, I've been cruising for a long, long time before we started our MAGA cruises, and I knew you. The price that you quote people includes everything, all right? It's not one of those lost leaders where they give you this lowbrow price, and then you find out there's all these hidden charges. Can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, when people call me up and ask me for a price, and I give it to them, their usual response is that per person? No. I give you a price, for the check you have to write. If you want to pay your gratuities up front and travel protection, that's extra. But our group rates include taxes, fees, port charges, classic beverage package, and the Starlink internet, which is really, really good.
Yeah, that's that Elon Musk internet, which is very fast.
Yeah, it's really good. I remember we were testing it. Low latency, but there's no games with the group rates. They're really good. They're all for infinite veranda staterooms and up. Good locations on the ship, and it's really, really a good deal. I mean, I do this day in and day out. This pricing's excellent.
In fact, you would not be able to if you were coming to Florida on vacation and you were visiting either Fort Lauderdale or Miami. You wouldn't be able to stay for a week in a nice hotel in South Florida for this price. And this price includes, your drinks, your meals, and everything else. So it's important to call though now, because when those group rates we're forced to give them up because of the holiday specials that are coming in, you're going to miss out on the best price. When I say 2019 rates on the cruise, I'm not exaggerating, and we're not doing salesman talk here. That is a reality. And when you first told me the prices, Ian, I was like blown away. This is a great deal. So give Ian a call. Now, if you get Ian's voicemail, leave your name and number. He'll call you back. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779 for Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. All right, Ian, we'll talk soon.
Have a great day, Brian. Thank you.
All right, take care. Yeah, I really mean that. Call and make that reservation, guys. You're going to have a great time. Okay, so after the top of the hour, I'll do a little bit of recapping because the New York race is really, it's really leaning against Mamdani now, which is really, truly a miracle when you think about it. And, you know, I wanted, though, before we end this hour, I want to respond to what that guy said, that was calling me about the you know, we're calling the Democrats evil, they call us Nazis, and all of this. There was an assassination attempt on Pam Bondi where they arrested the attempted assassin just yesterday, some 29-year-old Antifa punk, okay? So we've had the Pam Bondi assassination attempt yesterday. About a week or so ago, we had the Benny Johnson assassin was arrested, right? We had the two things last week with the president. One guy crashed his car into the front gate of the White House, the sniper's nest in Palm Beach at the airport. And of course, less than 2 months ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You know, the difference when we say, oh, the Democrats are evil, they're the devil, they're satanic, and they say that, you know, we're Nazis, we're Hitler. The difference is that when two things are different with it. One, the Democrats actually have people acting out on this. That's one. And number two, the way they do it, when we say satanic or evil, we mean it, but it's not as literal. When you call someone Hitler, no one is against taking out Hitler. You understand what I mean? When they call our people Hitler and Nazis repeatedly, they're very purposely inciting violence because it's happening again and again. You know, when there are violent incidents that happen, like I give you an example, there was the Gabby Giffords one. Perfect example of this. When Gabby Giffords was shot, Sarah Palin she was still out on the campaign all the time, trail all the time, endorsing candidates, and she had some political action committee. And she had a bunch of races where she was endorsing candidates and trying to get Republicans elected. And on her website, she had a list of Democrats that she was campaigning against, and it was her target list, target seats with a bullseye. Gabby Giffords was one of them. When Gabby Giffords was shot, immediately the media instantly blamed Sarah Palin, and they took that off the website. Okay? You know, so, you know, there's certain language and things that are used that incite. Saying someone's evil is not incite. Saying someone's Hitler is. Saying someone is a Nazi is. Saying someone's a fascist is. Big difference. So this is Nicole Wallace with Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, yesterday, saying, I can't believe she could say this with a straight face. Listen.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't think any Democrat has. I actually...
Okay, so Nicole Wallace says she doesn't think any Democrat has said that Trump is Hitler, right? And then this montage got put together.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't think any Democrat has. I actually, and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
What is the natural extension, Justin, if he pursues this to Harvard and beyond?
There was an authoritarian leader several decades back called Adolf Hitler. Hitler came to power and the scientists left.
The military survive in that climate.
In the same way that it happened in Russia with Stalin, the same way it happened with Hitler, eventually you get generals and admirals that are in there that only tell the leader what he or she wants to hear.
To the extent that the rule of law and an assault on the rule of law was an obscure, intangible thing, we're now seeing it in action.
If you look back in history, you can see very similar parallels that took place in other countries that really went down that authoritarian road, including in pre-World War II Nazi Germany.
See, this montage. So Nicole Wallace, she starts by saying she doesn't think anyone's called Trump Hitler or Nazi. This montage our guest that were on the air with Nicole Wallace saying the very same thing that she said she doesn't think any Democrat has said.
When Hitler and Nazi officials basically took over Frankfurt University, which was the bastion of independent thought and progressive thinking and independent thinking, which is what Hitler didn't want. And so again, this is what authoritarians do. They try to control all of the aspects of social life.
When Trump talks about peace and Putin talks about peace, it's autocrats getting their way. That's it. And Mussolini and Hitler said they were being the purveyors.
It's endless. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll be right back after this. I just got a DM on X from somebody about the sniper's nest. I can't believe what they're trying to pass off. This blows my mind. So I can find an article about this because they said this was in the news. I don't believe this story. I'll see if you guys believe it. We'll find out. Yes. What do you want? Come on. Hey. Okay. Are you there? Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, all right? We got 2 minutes. We'll be back. Hold on. No, I'm sorry, Haku. No, too late. I don't have time to go. You gotta wait till the next commercial, dude. Gotta wait till the next commercial. You didn't go. This cat, this is my daughter's cat. He's very bossy. All right, Steve, you there? Steve,
I am here.
We got less than 1 minute. Hold on.
There are major changes to be made this year.
Hold on. Hold on. You got to turn that down, Steve. You got to turn that down.
Turn what down?
I heard in the background. I heard like your voice, like a commercial.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, man. All right, the third hour has begun. I'm Brian. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning to you on
my
this glorious day.
A listener just sent me a story. I was just reading it during the break. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, did you have anywhere you wanted to go before I get to the ridiculous story?
No, I just wanted to comment. Last night I was watching probably the greatest World Series game ever played. 18 innings. The Dodgers took it to Toronto, and I'm still in shock.
Oh, you're talking about sports. You might as well be speaking Chinese to me.
Well, I mean, it's the only reason I bring it up real quick. We obviously don't want to spend tremendous time on it, but I'm just kind of curious how many people are joining us this morning. I don't think of the Steve Kane Show as being a sports-oriented program, but I'd be very curious how many people stayed with that game all night long into the small hours, because it was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable.
18 innings? Is that a record? It's got.
Well, let's put it this way: a regular baseball game, World Series game, would be 9 innings.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
So 18 innings is twice as long, about 3 hours long.
Oh my goodness! Did you stay up for the whole? Did you stay up for the whole thing?
To tell you the truth, I'm not really awake now.
Oh, did you win your bet?
Yes, okay. I got the Dodgers. I got to win the series, but
yeah,
I think we're well on our way.
Yeah, my daughter's all into the Dodgers since she was living in L.A., so she used to go to the games out there. So, yeah. So
anyway, anybody out there is a Steve Kane listener? If you heard last night's game, I'm just curious if you were as awestruck as I was listening to it.
I'll just say this about. I don't mind watching football. I'm just not that into it. But baseball, now again, I'm not a gambler. You got money on the game, so that makes it a little more interesting. But to me, watching baseball is just terminal. The guy that hits the ball, runs a little bit. There's not as much. With a football game, there's some action, especially when you get towards the end. There could be a lot of action. With a baseball game, I just see a lot of monotony. I just don't see a lot of action in baseball. That's just me. But
that's because there's not a lot of action there.
Exactly.
But there's action in this game last night. I'll tell you. I'm just curious if anybody in our audience is a sports fan.
I'm sure they are. Just because I'm not. Most everybody is. I'm about the only one who's not. It's the thing about the other thing about the baseball. I mean, if you didn't have money on it, could you have stayed up for it, or would you have fallen asleep?
For this game, I'd be awake.
Really?
No, it was unbelievable. Words don't really capture it.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I've been following baseball for many, many decades.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
So I've been around the block with this.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a game like this. This guy Otani, who's plays for the Dodgers, is just phenomenal. He hit another. So he hits 1 or 2 home runs almost every game.
Well, I just, to me, with the with baseball, I just don't see the strategy like you got in football. And football, anything can happen. Last minute, somebody could be way behind. In the last minute, they're ahead. And now there's been baseball. I don't know. That's just me. But I'm not a sports guy. You're a sports guy.
It's not just you. It's just baseball's a slower game.
That's for sure.
Getting around
Nothing's worse than hockey, though. Oh, my goodness. Hockey is the worst. It's the worst. Soccer, at least soccer, you got a chance. There's some excitement when they get near the goal, but it's not me. Well, anyway, if you're on hold, stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631. Do you want to take some calls, or do you want to talk about baseball? Okay, let's go. Let's take a call or two, and then I'll share this article. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. This is Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Steve, good morning.
Hey, Greg.
Good
what's
morning,
up?
Steve. Hey,
did you catch the game?
I did not stay up for the whole game. I went to sleep in the 10th inning, and but what an amazing series, and this rivalry between Canada and the United States, how it's taking place, because of what's going on in the political environment. But what a game! And we're watching probably the greatest player ever to play the game.
Yeah, I don't,
you know who I'm
think
talking
there's any
about, right?
question. Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani.
There's no question of it. I mean,
yeah, he's amazing.
Babe Ruth doesn't hold a candle to Ohtani.
No, and he pitches as well. And what a great time of the year. We have college football, pro football, and the World Series. And I'm glad to hear you brought it up on your program, because let me ask you a question. Do you have the Dodgers in the series? Is that your bet?
Yes.
And were you laying odds on it?
Oh, the Dodgers. I bet the Dodgers before the season started, and I got about 3-1 before the season commenced.
Excellent, nice. Because you know what, they're on their way to a gentleman's sweep. They'll probably take games, the next game, and then finish them out in LA, and they don't have to go back to Toronto. And I know you're a partner there. Most men actually like sports, right, Steve?
I think so.
Here we go. I was waiting for all of this bonding fakery you were doing, Greg.
No, I had to take a little shot here, Brian. Soy boys don't like sports.
I didn't say I don't like sports. There's things I like better.
Oh, listen, sports, men and sports.
All right, you're a real man. You're a real man.
I am a real man.
A real man, I know. Because I don't really like sport. I don't like sports. Yeah, my wife and daughter do. My wife's in the football. My daughter's in the baseball. My wife's in the football.
God bless your wife and daughter.
And I'm not into either. I guess I'm not a real man like you.
I didn't say you're not that. You're saying that.
You're implying.
Steve, don't you say men usually bond together? They go out, watch games, talk about it, like we're doing right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve and I've had this discussion many times. I don't think Steve's a sports fan. I think he's a gambling addict.
Well, I don't like to view it. I used to be an addict, but I think I've got control of the addiction.
Yeah, a little bit.
But there's no question that you're right that without a wager on a lot of these sports, it would be interesting for me to watch. Yeah. So I know what you're saying. I'm aware of it.
But Steve, would you still watch football
without betting?
Without betting, or it all has to be surrounded around betting?
It's a lot. Football is a lot more engrossing than baseball under any circumstances.
That's true.
I mean, baseball is a slow game, and despite their efforts to change the rules to try to do things to make the game speed up, I don't think they've all been successful. But I'll tell you, that game last night, if you saw it, was just breathtaking.
Really? I mean, it seems to me that would be it'd be like watching Dr. Zhivago over and over again. 18 innings? I don't know.
Well, listen, that's a long game to watch. No one's usually watching a whole 18 innings, but I watched 10 innings of it. And to me, to be honest with you, watching a Star Trek episode is like you might as well put a needle in my arm. Uh-huh. It's like mortally boring. So to each his own. But sports is actually live people you're watching compete at the highest level.
Yes.
At the highest level.
The highest level.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without a doubt. These pro athletes only.
You're talking about these pro athletes like in the NBA that are involved in this gambling racket that I was hearing about the other day?
Yeah, listen. That's going to be looked into, should be taken care of. But you're only talking about, we don't even know the tip of the iceberg on that story quite yet, and hopefully they come down on them hard. But they're still the greatest athletes.
Do you think it's exclusive? Do you think it's exclusive to the NBA, or do you think they're all rigged like that?
You know what, Brian? I think unfortunately it's in every sport practically. Yeah. I think gambling. I know you don't watch sports. I didn't mean to.
Not at all. No, I don't find. You think I care? I don't care.
Guess what? Listen.
I'm not insecure with my masculinity like you.
Calling in. To be a gentleman. That's
trying to be a gentleman. You're trying to present yourself as a real man today. I'm enjoying it. Greg too, the real man.
If you watch sports, if you watch sports, Brian, know what it's tied into, and Steve knows this. DraftKings is taken over as their main sponsor.
Yes.
They now talk about gambling on every segment pretty much. They show the lines on their ticker tape. Mm-hmm. They have brought gambling into the equation, and now they're like, we created this, monster.
And I don't think we've seen even scratched the surface of how much more than
All right, Greg.
No,
all this
Well, have a good day,
male
guys.
bonding. All right, take care. Oh my goodness, all this male bonding. Boy, oh boy. I want to tell everyone though that this is a very important month, and there's just a few days left in it. The month of October, of course, and October is Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month. And you know, sudden cardiac arrest is when you have a heart attack and you drop dead. And you know, the best way to prevent sudden cardiac arrest is prevention, to find out you got a problem before it turns into cardiac arrest. And that's where Life Imaging FLA comes in. You know, I had the full scan, the heart and the body scan a few weeks ago, and not yet, not on hold yet. And I was shocked to learn that I have no plaque and I have no blockage. I have the heart of a 25-year-old. And I also have no cancer. However, people go in there every day and find out they have 80% or more blockage, or maybe even cancer. So when it comes to Sudden Cardiac Arrest Month, go in there, get your scan, call them. They have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami. Pick up your cell phone and schedule your free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements valued at $699. Just dial pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and just say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. All right, we'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, okay? Hold on. All right, Steve, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, don't lose me.
I won't. Hang in there.
That was a great.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on hold for a minute, Steve. I'll be right back. All right, Steve, we got about 1 minute.
I'm ready.
Open your eyes.
Hold on.
All right.
We'll be back in about 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. Mike, the board op, he told me the game was 6.5 hours long, Steve. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I fell asleep at the very end.
Oh, okay. All right. You went great.
I mean, my eyes wouldn't stay open.
Yeah.
But it was
That's a long one.
else.
That's a long one. All right, back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. You talk about the ferociousness and how guys bond. Like for me, college football, if you want to start a conversation or a fight breaking out, the rivalry in college football, I think, is unmatched, and the high energy and everything. I remember I used to go down for the Notre Dame Miami games or the Orange Bowl. It was ferocious. For the Dodgers, though, two of the most memorable moments I remember in baseball in fairly recent years, when Tommy Lasorda went to Kirk Gibson, who was totally injured, came up to the plate and hit a home run when the guy couldn't even walk to first base. And the latest one, Freddie Freeman, I think it was in the 10th inning, he hit a grand slam home run. First pitch the guy threw, he blasted it out of the park. I mean, memorable moments. Baseball does have its memorable moments. There's a lot of dull moments in between, but some of these moments are just tremendous. And sports is also good for opening up lines of communication, I think, between people too. But I didn't see the
great for father-son blending too.
Oh yeah.
I used to take the boys. So we used to go to the Marlins games on a regular basis, and they loved it. They were little kids. They were like 7 years old or something at the time.
We had a good deal. We had a good deal with the Marlins. We actually advertised the Marlins, and you got like season tickets.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
they gave
wow.
us season tickets.
It's a great bonding mechanism, and for me, a little kid, when I went to a stadium and saw it was just like magic. It's just one of those great moments.
I'm not into base. I cannot tell you the name of one player on any baseball or football team currently playing pro today. But I'm not embarrassed to say that. I don't care. I'm not. But when I was younger and the Yankees used to have spring training in Fort Lauderdale at Little Yankee Stadium, I used to go there a lot, and you could go to a game and see the New York Yankees play for like $5 or $6.
Oh, incredible!
And I used to do that a lot when I was a kid, but I just.
I mean, for me, like some of the players, whether they're like mythical figures, like I was a huge Mickey Mantle fan growing up. These guys are like, I don't know, they were just like not human. They were just these phenomena.
But you know what? I was always, and Steve will tell you, I was always very not interested in sports. And we used to do. Steve, remember we used to do Monday Night Football?
Oh, yeah.
We used to do a thing on the Steve Kane Show. We had Monday Night Football, and we would go, if we had it now, we would do it at Wings Plus, but we would always have a place that showed football, usually a bar / restaurant, and we would go for years every Monday night for football. But I got, I was really into football, in particular college football, for a while. And what got me, I was never interested in baseball. And what got me off of football was when Trump came down the escalator, and I started watching the Trump rallies every weekend. And I lost complete interest in football. And I couldn't get back into it after watching the Trump rallies every weekend.
None of these guys are as exciting as Trump.
No,
that's for sure.
Well,
and
no,
I just and in the first campaign we were that's when the rallies were new, and every Saturday and Sunday there were like 2 rallies for like a year.
Oh yeah.
And
I
never went back. And then this year, my wife and I were like, okay, FSU's doing really good this year. We got a good quarterback again. So we started watching it. And then I get this announcement from the Super Bowl that they're bringing this Spanish singer that attacks ICE to sing at the halftime. And I'm like, oh, man, goodness. I mean, what are they doing?
The Dead Bunny.
Whatever his name
for the NFL.
I mean, whatever he is. And I was on Instagram the other day, and there's this actor that's in it that I like. And him and his what's that guy's name? The anti-ice bunny, whatever. You know what I'm talking. I don't know his name. It's not Dead Bunny, is it? What's his name?
I think that's his stage name.
His name is Dead Bunny.
His real name.
I saw these actors. They went to his concert, and they only went to the concert to stick it to Trump. They're talking, oh, screw Trump, we're gonna go see, but and they inject politics where it doesn't have to be. Bad Bunny's his name, by the way. Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Oh, Bad Bunny. Okay, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny.
I know that college football doesn't go to the, but I'm getting into it. Maybe we'll watch maybe I'll go to a Dolphins game this year. And then this Bad Bunny thing happens, and I lost interest in football again. And for the life of me, they survived the take a knee crap. They found a way beyond that, and then they stick it to us with this again, with the Bad Bunny.
Yes. Well, I think that's the commissioner of the NFL that's really screwing things up a lot. They're trying to set up an alternate halftime show for people to watch. But I still think if there was a big game on or a Trump rally, I'd be watching the Trump rally. That's how the impact is out of me. The whole Trump phenomenon.
Appreciation, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now I wanted to tell you. Hold on. Let me make sure I get the right number. Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. I mentioned something earlier before you were here, Steve, but I wanted to bring it up with you. And I know there were some people on hold at the top about this. If you want to call back about it, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Tucker Carlson did something yesterday that just pissed me off, and I know I'm not the only one. If they know about this, would piss them off. Did you hear me talking about what he did with Mark Levin?
No.
Oh. You know what? Let me tell you after the break, okay? Because I don't have enough time to tell you the story before the break. So let me do a quick spot here, and then we'll take the break actually a minute early, because I want to tell you this, because it really pissed me off what Tucker Carlson did in regards to Mark Levin, and I think it needs to be talked about. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. And I just, a lot of people, I've been a customer at Friendly Tire for about 20 years. And you've been a customer there for many, many years, Steve. You buy tires once at Friendly Tire, you'll never go anywhere else. You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And by the way, that's for common sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road today. I don't want you to think at that $75 price point, I'm talking about Fiats that have like golf cart tires on them. I'm talking about the most common cars on the road today. And when I say out the door and on the road, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tire. So when you call Friendly Tire, the price he quotes you is out the door and on the road. And new tires as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road. He has thousands of good used tires in stock as well, and he does repairs. His number is 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. All right? Be right back to you. Hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
we got about 40 seconds, okay? Yeah, I want to go over this thing that Tucker did. It just really was crappy, I think. It was pretty bad what he did.
Well, I can't wait to hear.
Now, it's a little inside radio, but...
All right.
All right, hold on. We'll be back in a few seconds. All right, welcome back. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian. Okay, I wanted to talk about this thing with Tucker Carlson. And he did something yesterday that really, I think, was very low life what he did. And it was very wrong what he did, in my opinion. And I'll share with you what happened. And I want to I tell you guys, a lot of people that are new to the show, they wonder why we talk about people. You know, years ago in the 80s, you started this thing on the radio in Miami called the Radio Wars, where people on different radio stations would talk about each other.
Remember that. Those were the days.
Yeah, and I used to listen back in those days. I was still in school. But, you know, so there's a long history of us on this program talking about other personalities. That's just what we do. But this one is different. There's been a lot of talk from people that say that, and some prominent people have suggested this, that Tucker Carlson is anti-Semitic, he hates Israel, and some people like Laura Loomer and others have suggested he's getting paid by Qatar, in particular, by the Muslims, to be anti-Israel, be anti-Semitic.
Right.
And I don't know about that, but he does take an anti-Israel position. And I've noticed it seems that he's almost doing some recruiting into his little anti-Israel cell, so to speak. And he looks to me to be working on Megyn Kelly. And all this talk about Charlie Kirk being, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, you know, they could say whatever they want because dead men tell no tales and he can't defend himself or correct the record. But a lot of people have been saying that Charlie Kirk was going to turn against Israel publicly. And I don't know if that's true or not. We'll never know for sure. But Tucker Carlson was a regular in Charlie Kirk's speaking circuit with him at Turning Point. And I've seen Tucker working on Megyn Kelly on events and on their shows and stuff. And I think Tucker was working Charlie Kirk to make him an asset of his in his anti-Israel movement. Well, every decade has the hate monger, white supremacist, homophobe, bigot that the left turn into becoming the face of the right? You know, like remember Fred Phelps, Steve?
Right.
Fred Phelps was this fringe lunatic preacher who had a church that had about 12 to 18 members, and all of them were members of his family. They were all members of his family.
All genetically related.
Exactly. It was all his family. And what Fred Phelps did, this was in the 90s, he would go to funerals of people who died of AIDS and protest them with his 12 relatives of his flock. And the media made him a national figure. He was on CNN. He was on national shows. The one that's most famous for this is David Duke. David Duke was a Klansman. He ran.
We had David Duke on all the time.
Yeah, well, you did. Yeah, I remember we had Fred Phelps on, but you know what? You're right. I do remember I was on with you. We had David Duke on, and David Duke, he was a Klansman. I think he was a Grand Wizard at one time, or at least so goes the legend. And he ran for the State House of Representatives in Louisiana, registered as a Republican, and CNN and the liberal media, they made David Duke a household name. And then when Trump first came down the escalator, they brought him out of retirement and put him on CNN, and he endorsed Trump, remember? And they tried that with David Duke. It didn't fly for very long. So the left always pick a white supremacist or a homophobe and try to make them the face of the Republican Party. And they always want to get that creation of theirs, Fred Phelps, David Duke types, endorsing and supporting whoever the Republican leader is of the day.
So
I'm getting to this. So there's a new one out there now. His name is Nick Fuentes, who's a kid, and the left love Nick Fuentes. He's a well-known white nationalist, and a lot of MAGA people have him on. Tucker has had him on his show yesterday. Patrick Bet-David has had him on. Others have had him on, and Tucker's anti-Israel rhetoric is so bad, Steve. When I went to one of Attorney Barry Siegel's workshops a couple months back, and a listener came just to tell me, stop saying good things. Could you stop saying good things about Tucker? He hates Jews. A lady, nice lady, she came and she just, it's a big thing with people, and I understand it listening to him. So anyway, Tucker has Nick Fuentes on yesterday, and he does this very long interview that he begins by apologizing for Nick Fuentes for some things he said about him, which was strange. But then he talks to Nick Fuentes about how did he become a radical white supremacist white nationalist. And Nick Fuentes told a story that was so insane that it was like when I got that call from this one liberal guy, and I'm like, are you pulling my leg? You can't be saying something so ridiculous. Nick Fuentes told Tucker Carlson, who do you think, Steve, radicalized? He told, I was radicalized by this person to be a white nationalist, white supremacist. Do you know who he said radicalized him?
Who? Tucker?
Mark Levin. A Jew.
Mark Levin?
A Jew. He said he was radicalized on race and became a white nationalist by listening to Mark Levin's radio show when he was in high school. It is absurd. Now, Mark Levin is obviously, everybody knows, is a Jew and a strong vocal supporter of Israel. And he also has...
In fact, probably as far as the media goes, I would say Levin is probably on a national level, because now he is syndicated, I do believe, last I heard. But he, without any question, he is the biggest supporter of Israel.
That's right, Mark Levin. And he has the president's ear and when it comes to such things. And I believe, and to say that he said that he would listen to Mark Levin every day when he was in high school. I don't know if, Mark Levin was on at night back then. I used to listen to Mark Levin a lot till he became a never Trumper in the first campaign. And I turned him off like I turned out football when Trump was out in the first campaign. But to say that you've been radicalized to be a white nationalist, white supremacist by listening to a Jew is absurd. And okay, you agree, Steve? Okay. And he said he heard Mark Levin talk about how Obama was making the country minority white. And that's what radicalized him to be a white nationalist. And Tucker Carlson didn't call him out on this, the absurdity of it. And it's a very sophisticated way for Tucker and this guy to discount one of the most vocal, influential, pro-Israeli voices in America today. And as absurd as it is, and Steve and I are laughing about it, I don't think Mark Levin's going to be laughing about it, and I'm sure he knows about it. He may or may not respond because maybe he doesn't want to give this Nick Fuentes the platform because they're also trolling Mark Levin.
If I had to make a bet, going back to our earliest discussion, I would say Mark Levin will probably ignore it.
Which he probably should do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because this Fuentes guy, he's doing the rounds on a lot of MAGA shows. I was surprised Patrick Bet-David had him on. And they have him on, and they're elevating him. A lot of MAGA people are elevating this guy, this white nationalist, whatever he is, who's identifying himself as MAGA, like the liberals used to do with David Duke and Fred Phelps, and it's bad news. And I learned a couple years ago never to question anything Laura Loomer says. She's always right, and she's been saying that Tucker is getting money from Qatar, maybe, and he's anti-Israel and anti-Semitic, and I believe her. But this is a prime example that backs that up. For him to bring this guy on and allow Mark Levin to be discounted that way is insanity to me, unless you've got an agenda. And I was just very upset with Tucker that he would do that. And, I've had my problems with Mark Levin because he was a never Trumper in the first campaign, So I've always got my eye on him. But I agree with him 100% when it comes to Israel. And when I heard that with Fuentes and Tucker Carlson yesterday about Mark Levin, it's insane to me. And I don't know what's happened to Tucker. Maybe it's because he's on his own now and he doesn't have like the boss at Fox editing what he does. Or maybe it's true that he's got some funders that we don't know about. I don't know. But I do know this, that apologizing to a white nationalist and then labeling Mark Levin as a white nationalist recruiter and creator, that's pretty over the line. I would have really challenged him on that if he tried to pull that line on this show. I guess I'm disappointed in Tucker, Steve, is what I guess it is, because I've always liked him, and then I disappointed. Overrated? Yes, I'll give you that. Overrated. Yes, overrated. But I always liked him, and then I see what he's doing here, and just a little much over the line. So then there was an assassination attempt on Pam Bondi that was stopped, luckily, by Kash Patel. And, this is just, it's hard to believe. What's going on, Steve? We've had all these different assassination attempts and an assassination go on. And usually when these things happen, there's a cooling off period, but the left just keep escalating. And
the worst thing is, I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet.
No,
I really don't.
No, and this arrest of the Pam Bondi assassin. This is the first. Now again, I stand to be corrected, but to my knowledge, this is the first assassination attempt on a cabinet member since 1865 during the Lincoln assassination. I know, it's a long time. So, and yesterday it came out that Pam Bondi has 2 more federal grand juries that are forming in January in Florida, specifically 2 more. She already has Florida grand juries, and there's grand juries elsewhere, but she's got 2 new grand juries starting in January. She just got the order from the judge yesterday. One will be in Fort Pierce, where there's already a grand jury that she has, and another one in Fort Lauderdale. And they are very specifically about the 10-year lawfare attack on President Trump, they said. And this assassin that was arrested yesterday, he may not know it. He's another patsy, but I think it's about these grand juries and indictments. She's taken on some very big and dangerous people. All right, let's take our last break and come back with the Gold Report.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, I'll call you back. And I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. I got to get William. Hold on. Hold on. All right, you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Okay. Unbelievable. All right. Okay, hold on. We've got 20 seconds. I'm going to get William. Hold on, Steve. All right, we have 20 seconds. We'll be live.
Okay.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian Steves here. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman in Boca with the morning gold and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Metals looking weaker still as they continue to correct lower for the last several days now. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $3,971 on the low to $4,113 on the high. Close down $130.80 at $3,980.40. $3,980. Silver down $1.70 at $46.83. Platinum was down $20 at $15.84. And palladium closed down $19 at $1,382. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,886 on the low to $4,021 on the high. And right now we're at $3,920. That's down another $60.40. So what we're getting here is about a 10% correction, not quite yet, but a 10% correction from the all-time record highs, which is not unusual for markets to do, especially when they got so overbought as gold did after going up for practically 9 straight weeks.
Yeah.
The silver market down 44 cents right now at $46 and down $1,400. $40 at $54. So market opportunity side for a pullback is here.
Yeah, so basically right now this is one of those great days where the metals are on sale, and a 10% correction. You've been talking about that actually for a while, William, to expect a 10% correction. So things are going according to plan, and it's a great day to pick things up. William, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. We had a bad connection there for a second. So the metals are on sale today. I'm gonna now William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can also give them a call and you can do all your transactions over the phone and through the mail, no matter where you are located, at 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, and find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. That's WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, we are back. All right, Steve, you back with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, so another front. So we have the attempted assassination of Pam Bondi, which is really a frightening thing. And, there's no doubt in my mind there's a connection between these grand juries and indictments. The Antifa arrest, and it looks like the assassin they arrested has an Antifa connection. It looks like that. What they're doing so much more than just the lawfare, which is big. I mean, these are dangerous people they're going after. But remember, they're also going after the funders of Antifa. And President Trump keeps saying, I probably know some of these guys, right? So there's some big shot guys that are kind of undercover funding all this mayhem in the country. They're getting to the bottom of it. It's all being done through her. And that's why we have the first cabinet assassination attempt in 160 years. And, I've been impatient with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. I get it, okay? And I'd like to see the press conference with the lawfare people, not the NBA press conference. But when you see what just happened with Pam Bondi, they're all obviously doing their job and freaking some powerful people out. They really are, or you wouldn't have these kind of things going on. Now, this one story a listener sent me, and it's in the local news in Palm Beach, and I don't buy this story, by the way, and I'll tell you why I don't buy it. But okay, so last weekend, they found that sniper's nest in the tree at the airport. Remember this?
We were the only ones covering it.
No, it was covered.
You did a whole show on it.
No, we're not. The local news had been covering it, and Fox covered it for a day. And the Secret Service and the FBI shut down all of that whole weekend. They shut down Southern Boulevard, the road from the airport to Mar-a-Lago. That's all the way through downtown Palm Beach. And they shut all of it down, and they did a big sweep. And they took the sniper's nest and sent it to Quantico for examination. We haven't heard any updates on it. One of the local news stations Somebody sent me an article about this. They interview a guy. Now, again, this is not law enforcement. It's not FBI. This is just a guy. And they interviewed a guy who says it was a hunting stand set up for iguana hunters. Iguana hunters.
Never heard of that.
In a tree. We've got a big iguana problem in Florida. Do you have them all over your neighborhood, Steve?
Yes.
And they get pretty big. Some of them get to be the size of alligators, small alligators. And iguanas are the dumbest creatures I've ever encountered in my life. I've never seen a creature as dumb as an iguana. And they're so dumb, I feel bad for them. Sometimes people in my neighborhood, they run into the car, not away from it when you're going down the street, so you got to be careful. And they breathe like nobody's business. Some of them get run over in the neighborhood, and then the iguana eggs are all over the road. And I mean, there's hundreds of eggs in each one. But one thing I learned about iguanas is they climb trees, which I didn't know that before. Did you know they climb trees?
That's where we see them.
Yeah,
in our backyard.
Oh, okay. I see them all over the lake in my development, all running around the bank, and they sunbathe and stuff. But when they run from people, they climb trees, and they climb them fast too. And I've known iguana hunters and people trying to catch the iguanas, and I've seen the iguana hunters around. I've never seen one up in a tree.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's where they dwell.
No. I don't mean the iguanas. I've never seen the iguana hunters in the trees.
Oh, okay.
Glad
you clarified.
Yeah, the iguanas go in the trees, but not the iguana hunters. I've never seen an iguana hunter in the tree. Maybe they hang around the trees and then go and get them. And certainly, when it comes to shooting them, where that sniper's nest is one of the most busy traffic areas in Palm Beach County. There's probably a traffic jam. I've driven by there like at 5 a.m. going to the radio station, and there's like traffic. The idea that someone's firing off a rifle, I guess if you're shooting iguanas, what would you be using, a 22? I don't see someone firing off even a 22 long rifle in a tree in a busy area where that was next to the airport. I just don't see it. And they quoted this local iguana guy, and as far as I know, he's just advertising that he's an iguana. These iguana hunters work their way into the news all the time, so people will hire them. They're a pest because they destroy your flowers and bush. They eat your flowers and bushes in your yard, and people don't like them. They're not indigenous to Florida, but people like Steve Kane used to buy them, and then they get big, and you'd let them go in the Everglades, and they breed more than rabbits, and they're everywhere now. The iguanas and the snakes, the pythons that aren't indigenous are all over the place. So I don't buy this iguana story that they're trying to the iguana hunter story that they're trying to sell us in this tree. If it was an iguana nest, I don't see the FBI shutting down downtown West Palm Beach for an entire weekend, doing the largest sweep that's ever been done in the area, sending it off to Quantico and everything else. And I don't buy that story. And the local one thing I've noticed about the local media, I'll see them sometimes at the Trump events. They hate them. And every time I see the local reporters in Palm Beach, they seem pissed off that they got to cover him. I'll see them there around Mar-a-Lago, and they're always pissed. Some more than others. So I just like this Pam Bondi assassination. Have you seen much coverage of it, Steve?
No.
Exactly. They're not covering these assassination stories because they know who's doing it. It's the left. So the media are trying to discount and not cover any of them. And the ones they cover them as little as possible because it shows how violent and out of control the liberals have gotten. Now, I want to tell you guys, Saturday is November 1st, so that means holiday season's here. You got your Thanksgiving coming up. You got your Christmas parties. You've got Christmas, you've got Hanukkah, you've got New Year's. You want to look good. I mean, this is the time of year you see people that you only see once a year or every 5 years or every 10 or 15 or 20 years. You want to look good, and there's no better way to do that than lose weight, and you can do that easily like I've done with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I want to remind you, when I went to Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it was a month before our cruise. And Dr. Zuckerman said, how much do you want to lose? I said, well, I got the cruise coming up in a month. I'd like to lose 25 pounds. I lost 25 pounds the week before the cruise. So when we went on the cruise, I was down like 30 pounds in a month. Okay. And I've lost more since. So my results are typical. So for Thanksgiving, the Christmas parties, New Year's, Hanukkah, Christmas, everything you got going on over the holidays, you can slim down, you can trim down, and you can look and feel great. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation. You can lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, so that's that. And so I don't buy the iguana hunter story. And the network news, only one of the networks even reported the Pam Bondi story. I know Fox reported it because I saw it on Fox. But I don't know if it got any coverage on MSNBC or CNN. I haven't seen anything online from them about it. And, Pam Bondi, Steve, she's taking on people higher up, I think, than any sitting attorney general has taken. I know Bobby Kennedy took on the mafia, okay? And that was pretty risky. But this is bigger than even the mafia, the people she's taken on. And to have the first assassination attempt on a cabinet member in 160 years, who's doing what it is she's doing with these grand juries, these arrests. We got the Comey indictment, the Letitia indictment. Plus, she's a woman, on top of that, and have everything about it is historic and newsworthy in the tragedy. And there's basically a media blackout on it because they don't want you to see the left as what they are. Terrible, evil people that over the last less than 2 months have had multiple assassination attempts and one assassination. They just arrested 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, Benny Johnson had an assassin that they arrested, which was really scary. Right after Charlie Kirk, then Benny Johnson, they were going after him very specifically. So we are really truly in a scary time where not only are the left out of control, I feel like, Steve, they almost have an endorsement.
I know what you're saying.
And because no one in the media is calling for people to tone down the rhetoric. And because they're not toning it down, it's continuing to happen. Well, listen, that's what's going on for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Does the World Series get a break tonight, Steve?
No, I think we got another game tonight.
After a 6.5-hour game, I mean, you're going to watch another one tonight? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild game, I have a feeling.
I don't know. I just, So how do you have your bet done? You pick the winner, your bet on the winner?
I make my bets before the season begins.
You do the same thing with football?
Yes.
So I guess...
Yeah, because I get a whole season's worth of betting for, the baseball season has been, 6 months, something like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll get the latest on that tomorrow. Also, tomorrow we'll have a lot to talk about with this Asian trip to Japan. President Trump's trip to Japan was fantastic. The lady prime minister is so MAGA, it's crazy. She gave Trump as a gift Prime Minister Abe's putter that she had put in this beautiful case, and he was President Trump's good friend, and they assassinated him.
Yeah.
Remember, after he was out of office, and so the trade and what he's doing is he's Remember, he had a big trade battle with Japan. That's all done now. We got it all wrapped up. Everything's fine. The only people that are upset about the tariffs are the liberals in this country. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And God bless the late, great Charlie Kirk. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. All right, Steve, I'll call you later.
Okay.
All right, take care. Take care. All right, everyone, listen, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? I'll talk to you later. Take care.